Record.
Okay, we're going to start the Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen meeting. It's 5:04 on Wednesday, June 5th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On to item 2, approval of the minutes, May 15, 2019 meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Any further discussion? None, we vote, all 3 in favor. Item 3, review of treasurer's warrants, payroll 34, 37, 40, accounts payable 33, 35, 39, 41, and 42.
You have to add 36 and 38, they were stuck together when I,
36 and 38, is that under payroll or accounts payable?
accounts payable.
Accounts payable.
Make a motion to approve A and B as read.
Second.
All in favor? We all voted in favor. We have no guests today, so I think our open session is probably not gonna be participated. Selectmen's concern, item 5. Any? Hearing, seeing none. Committee reports, road commissioner. Seth is not here today.
Well, I have
Do you
all
have
sorts
something?
of stuff
Yep.
to tell you about.
Okay.
All right, let's see. First things, I think I sent you these, bridge inspections.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I don't think they require any response from me, but.
Just kind of a
anybody-
heads up
Yeah,
thing.
anybody feel differently?
I know, well, I mean, if you go kind of down to the bottom part of the report, I can't remember the actual verbiage, but they're proposed.
Right.
There
There wasn't
I
anything.
read- Right,
There was
right.
nothing
So
proposed,
is that not, it's not a
but one of them says
It's
they
not a what?
have a
bad
key.
bridge?
No, no,
Oh,
it's
oh.
just kind of like
Oh,
They do them every year.
FYI,
It's
you've got
just
these
a-
bridges.
oh, that's what I thought that was.
You clear the
Yeah.
drainage out, make sure you've done all these kind of things, your
Okay.
bridge will last longer.
Oh, okay, okay, so that wasn't, we didn't get dinged.
No, no,
Oh.
no, it's just good bridge practice.
Oh, okay.
No, cable rail broken in several places. One of them had a tree growing on them, probably ought to send Seth out to deal with that. But,
Well, maybe honestly, some of that cabling, the post, it doesn't have to be this year, but we ought to put that out as far as road committee on, as awareness that those guide rails really probably need to be updated
Okay.
in the next couple of years. We did a bunch last year, but we did what was required last year, but I can, if they're already marking it as a potential issue, then.
Yeah.
You know,
Your
and-
Put it
bridge
on
letter
the
might not be far away.
That's
correct.
right.
So, and we know that was a little bit of an expense if you got
Now, we might be able to, if you've got just one bed, because we've got some holes. I mean, you might not have to replace the whole thing, but I don't even know which bridge that was they referenced, but.
There's 2 on French's Mills Road.
Rowell is.
It's down past the one we
It
did the
looks-
culverts on.
It looks huge.
It's got,
It's a big
They
pipe.
are.
It's a big
Oh, it
pipe.
is?
those are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, the number of times I've been down that road, I just
You
don't.
don't even-
I guess
No,
I've never
I don't
looked
have
in
a
the,
clue.
underneath them, but.
And they're not, I don't even think there's a cable.
Yeah, it's on the other side, the set, not the side that we replaced, but the other side has guardrail and then it's got some cable.
I thought we pulled it all. But the pipe, I think the pipe they reference is right down below me. And there's no rail on that. That's just a big pipe.
Oh,
So, next thing, I looked up roadside mowing. What I've got agrees with the contract, I haven't called him, but it says that he will be doing roadside mowing in July into August.
Last year's contract did not have all the roads on it, cause your road was missed.
Is Thomas Road in there?
Thomas.
It is on there?
Good.
Okay,
That's
the actual wasn't.
right.
I would say she updated it after the misses.
McNaughton Hill
That's right.
wasn't on it.
Yes, it's on there.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, so it got updated.
All right.
That's good.
The contract specifies 28.76 miles, and this list is that, I can go through here and make sure they add
Yeah.
up the same.
I was more on, I mean, we missed entire roads, so.
Yeah,
it wasn't
it didn't get
actually-
done the whole year.
Right, and I don't even know if the
Never.
west, I think the west road got done, but the Mountain Hill didn't, is that how that went?
I don't
But
know.
I'm pretty
I have
sure,
no idea.
So, Butch has been in. Talking to me.
Yeah, he called me at home, he had a couple of driveway concerns, I don't know if that's what you're.
Driveway, no, he wants to get, he's got a couple of weeks where he's down. And he'd like to use the town bulldozer and get some gravel on the Line Road and the West Road.
He did mention that to me.
Now Seth's been looking for gravel, cause Seth wants to do the West Road for me because I have a list of complaints a mile long. Haley's Pit is mostly sand at the moment.
Garland.
Garland?
Mm-hmm.
Where did he just tell me he found some?
I just got a quote right here.
You can ask Chris, that's
just
where they
got
get
one.
theirs, is really good gravel out of Garland pit.
Do you guys move it
Here's the
yourself?
quote from Garland.
Do you move it yourself?
No, I was gonna have, this is from my.
Right.
I was gonna have Chris Arno do it.
Okay.
But I can send it to you, everybody.
Yep.
It's got, bank run, I need new glasses.
Me too.
Six minus, 4 minus, 2 minus, 1 minus, screen, blah, blah, all the prices. Sand, screenings, crushed stone, fill, blah. So, okay, I'll send this.
It happened, he says, he found it somewhere for $9 a yard.
For what now? What size?
He didn't say, just was saying that he located some.
All right. So this is the Garland pit. I'll send it to you right
Okay.
now.
And,
What-
Butch came in and told me that Haley's is $4.50 a yard, but that's 3-inch minus, screened at $7.25. And Seth keeps saying to me, yeah, but it's not good.
Yeah, it's very
Oh,
sandy, it's
Yeah.
very sandy, that's all.
Yeah,
Give what you
so,
pay
Butch made me sit down and figure out what it would cost with the $4.50 to do the Line Road. It'd be $3,600 in gravel at $4.50, so if it's 9, it's twice that. West Road would be a shorter stint. He volunteered to use the town dozer to move it and use it and bring it back for $25 an hour. And he has time in the next 2 weeks, and then he thinks he's got a project and won't be available. Let's see, what else did we discuss? Oh, he's willing to help Seth coal patch tomorrow on the McFeeters Road, because he wants that done. And if he could use the loader, I don't know if he's covered if we use our loader. And
Well, I
Seth
think-
doesn't necessarily want it done because Pike's told him that,
We need to
Tar
get the
won't
road
adhere.
committee going and deal with that aspect and not individual aspects, is what we.
understand.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would
I
follow
was,
Seth's
I was,
lead.
I was kinda hoping to talk to Seth tonight, but Seth is out
Yeah,
on,
it's
out on the rake, so I thought I'd just pass some of this.
Sure.
His
Even
information
the
on.
dozer work, I know he's really capable, but again, I would probably let you and Seth take the lead on that.
Okay, yeah. Well, I wouldn't turn, if Butch is gonna run the dozer, I'd want Seth out there on the spot running the show.
Correct.
Yep,
So then
which
you
would
pay-
mean Seth has basically signed off on it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
now Seth may say, you know what, I'd rather run the dozer. That's
But
his
the
call.
The other thing is, when you're doing that, now you're paying Butch at 25.
Right, and you're paying Seth.
For a supervisor,
Right.
so by the
And
time
if-
you're done, you're not saving a nickel.
Right, and if Seth.
Right,
can
so
do
Seth
it-
might say, I'll just run
Himself,
the
yeah,
dozer.
right.
So that would be
That's
Seth's
it.
call.
That's, yeah.
Did you send me that?
Yeah.
So then,
But there is some coal patch needs on Silver's Mills too, I don't know if you've heard.
they've
about
been
that.
out, Don Pepin's been out the last couple of days. He's did some in Silver's Mills, did some in East Sangerville. There was a huge pothole on the golf road that he filled. He had a little bit left when he came back through to get some more, so he did Maple Street for me, cause I'd had a couple complaints where that was really rough.
Does he work for Seth or?
He works for Seth,
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
so,
Yeah, the spot on, it started out, it was only like, now it's like the size of this table.
Where's
It's
that?
open, it's right, a little bit after Urban's driveway, before
Oh.
you get to the corner.
Oh,
It's just,
so I take it hasn't been done
it wasn't done this morning.
morning, okay, cause
And
Don was
it's
out there all day,
just
so I don't
getting
know.
worse, so.
Okay. He don't like that out on the golf road that take care of, so some of the coal patch is done. All of the grading is done, I believe. Everybody has been wonderfully happy
Sure.
with the grading.
Beat yourself every day, and all of a sudden it's like a new highway.
Oh, yeah.
Except I don't think he has done the West Road because he said there's not much he can do until,
Does he do Thomas Road?
Yeah,
yet? Good.
yeah, I watched him do it.
Because that was bad.
Yeah, yeah, he did a really nice job. An hour and a half to it. But I drove over the Burrows Road yesterday and, you know, the Dover side was really bad. I'm thinking, oh, why did I go this way? Because I was coming back from the vet.
Yeah.
Why did I go this way? And I got to the Sangerville and it was beautiful. It was beautifully done, so.
Good.
Dover graded a long time ago. So,
Yeah,
Very,
really.
very beginning of the year, so we kind of looked at that, but now
Now we look back.
we look
Now,
better.
yeah.
But that's also the
And-
beauty of the town owning their own grader, because they can grade early and then they're gonna grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
grade whenever.
Grade whenever they want.
Whenever they
Yeah.
need to, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what Exeter does. He does
Oh.
it too.
I think as far as the schedule goes, we've got the tree removal stuff later, so that's all I had for
Okay.
immediate, the road complaints have slowed down.
Good, good, good.
So, all right, I'll put those back.
So are we ready to move on
Yep.
to new business?
Yeah.
The competitive bid policy and reviewing the administrative policy for road projects.
Yeah,
Don't those kind of go together?
I'd like to do those two together,
I'd like to eliminate one.
That's what I mean. Shouldn't those kind?
we're not
maybe
gonna
we
do the
should-
traffic and parking ordinance, I just wanted to give you a quick update on that one.
Right.
We're not gonna do the fire department ordinance.
Correct. Just, we know it needs to be looked at.
We
Okay,
don't have a cemetery policy, but I have a proposal, so that's not gonna be long.
okay.
So, the competitive bid, the administrative road, the smoking policy, the culvert policy is really short and.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet, and so those are the ones that we have to,
Okay.
or I would
Okay.
like to,
Yeah,
we don't have to.
right.
I did give you a list of policies and,
Thank you.
ordinances that I found while playing in my computer.
Ah,
Some of them are in our planning board manual, some of them are not, some of them are in our, policy book that the, public uses and aren't anywhere else. And then some of them I find drafts of stuff here, there, and everywhere and say they were amended or adopted here and there, and so
wow,
there's some cleaning up to do.
wow.
And I did
Have to
find
be
one
in-
that isn't on there,
It's
the,
just amended.
which one?
Personnel policy.
I told you there was not.
Yeah.
Personnel policy is
Okay.
just been amended, right?
Well, yeah, we reworked it at length.
A lot.
Yeah,
Yep, so it has another amendment
It's not
on
in
it.
the-
it's not, doesn't exist.
I have it right, no, it does. It's right-
Oh,
It's
No, it
not,
doesn't.
it's not where it's supposed to
It
be,
doesn't
but it
match
does
it.
exist.
But it doesn't represent all
It
the
doesn't match-
changes we made either.
It
Right.
doesn't match what's online. Online does not represent what we.
right,
did.
right, it's exact.
Online is still the 2014, you think?
It doesn't, it's not what we worked on.
Okay, personnel, it was in here,
That's why I think
Okay,
that one
maybe
is-
it's in the
That's
other
gonna need a lot of
book.
work again.
alright.
I think we can whiz through it, but
Yeah, we'll
Yeah, we're gonna
recognize
have
most
to-
of it.
Well,
that's what I'm
we
saying.
will.
We really beat a lot of that up.
Okay, so, public complaint, competitive bid has
Do
just.
you, just really quick,
Mm-hmm,
because I didn't know it existed, which would be my fault, I guess. So under ordinances, road specification ordinance.
oh, that is a really old one. Do I have it here?
Property maintenance.
I have it right here, now, I can't prove that it actually exists.
Huh,
Except that I have this piece
It
of
was
paper.
written, but you don't know it was ever
Yeah.
approved.
Road specification ordinance, Town of Sangerville, Maine, adopted by vote of special town meeting November 8th, 1982. I went and looked for the warrant, I did not find one.
huh.
Doesn't mean anything, but section 1, town specifications. When a resident's site is taken on a road not maintained by the town, that road must be built to town specifications before the town votes to accept the road for maintenance. The right of way, I can't deal with you today. My eldest. The right of way is to be 3 rods wide. The road is to be 20 feet wide with a minimum of 18 inches of good gravel over the ground. Ditches to be 32 inches deep with good drainage and culverts where necessary. I've heard this cited before in meetings.
But you can't find where it was
Whoa.
ever
I
officially
can't, I
voted in.
can't find where it was voted.
That's interesting.
Well, so, but I can see where you'd want some basic criteria before you'd even consider accepting a road.
Right.
That's what
Correct.
this was
Right.
about.
Yeah, and when we did the Turner Road,
That's where this all-
this kept being cited.
Correct. I remember, but I never heard that before, that's why I asked. And honestly, that's why I didn't know what that, I wanted to know what that is, in case that has supersedes our culvert or our
Right,
traffic.
right, there are lots of
or-
Oh, yeah.
cases where, yeah, this mentions this here and here it's different and,
Right.
yeah, cause,
But I mean, if you can't find a warrant and we can't find a recorded
doesn't-
vote, it does
doesn't
not exist.
that would be true. So-
Again, though,
So
you're
if
in
I
a
do-
position where you could say, somebody could fight you, but you could say, well, here it is. And then somebody says, well, you've got to, I mean, you go back and forth.
Right.
But without an ordinance, it's almost, it almost means you can raise the bar as high as you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say it's gotta be Route 23 before
Yeah,
it's official.
that's right.
Before we're good,
Well,
you're right.
maintain it.
Yeah,
It's almost to your advantage, maybe
Not
I'm
that-
looking at it wrong,
But
but,
my point of view is,
No.
of
if
course, they
it's
could
not-
flip it on its head. They
if
could
you
say,
don't have a warrant, it's not a recorded vote, there's no history of it being done, the verbiage of that at least should be in our, somewhere else.
somewhere else, no.
That's kind of where I'm going, not,
Yeah, so you want this put into something like one of the other projects, so one of the other, okay.
I hate having all of these, cause it gets really clunky.
It does.
It's easier, you know, I mean, like our traffic ordinance, if you read that, there's a lot in that.
I did
but
read it.
It's
Your
a little
traffic-
overwhelming,
Your
but,
traffic ordinance is an ordinance, plus it's your mailbox policy.
Yeah.
And your restricted weight,
Yep, yep.
Policy.
Yeah.
but we also
Yes.
have a mailbox policy.
which
That's
is,
within-
which is what it's actually
within
hooked
that.
in.
It's within
It
that.
it's a subset.
Yeah.
It's in there and.
I get that, but there is a separate mailbox policy.
Because they actually passed the mailbox policy part and didn't go the extra step for the ordinance. I started looking into it,
They passed a policy,
Yeah, there, yes.
not an ordinance.
non-ordinance. I don't think you can make a mailbox ordinance. You can only do traffic. Mailbox is federally regulated. So it basically says you want federal standards.
Sure.
And,
Okay.
but the 2 policies were amended, supposedly put in January 2014. So I went back to the minutes, they were not approved in January. They were approved in February. And they were still looking at the traffic ordinance because MMA had given you some advice. Well, I can't find the advice. I've been looking and looking, because I
Which
wanted.
piece?
It's from, it had to do, I don't know, had to do with the traffic ordinance and it was from, somebody named
Is that me?
Stoltz.
No, that ain't me.
No.
I wasn't here then, not in 14.
14, yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Well,
And
I
so
think you
they-
started 15, didn't you?
that's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
So supposedly.
Because
they-
my part of the traffic
Yeah, you
ordinance
were, you
was,
just, you just redid 18, so that was 3 years ago.
That's right.
so when I was part of that because Ken and I actually went to a DOT thing.
Right.
Well, at the DOT class, it tells you that, you know, if
You have to
get-
do this, you have to do
If you
that.
don't have if you don't have this policy or ordinance, and you get stopped for not stopping at a stop sign, the stop sign's not in your ordinance, then that ticket is null and void.
If you know enough to
If
you-
check
Yeah,
that.
If you know
Right,
what's
and the
there.
guy at the state says my phone rings steady, because people call about, is this speed limit sign you know, I can't remember the terminology, but when you have to do the road study about a reduced speed zone, they call to ask, was that done properly? Because if it wasn't, the
Then
ticket's
the
no.
tickets, okay.
So
Oh my
that's
gosh.
kinda how that all evolved and that started, was because we took that
Yeah.
it was from a DOT class.
Well, this guy from MMA offered advice, but I can't find it, and so I can't tell if the ordinance I'm looking at is from January, or or they took the advice and updated it for February. You know, it's just in my computer.
Wow.
Did they ever sign it though and date it?
It's never been finished.
No, so the policies are dated, and in effect, and the ordinance has not been finished. So that's something to work on.
And really, I mean, it's like your culvert policy, that could be all part of that same thing. I mean,
Yeah.
you can keep all this separate if you,
Yeah,
it's just more things to keep
to
going.
keep
That's
in a book and.
Right, right. Keep up with
But the problem with keeping everything is that every draft ever written is in that computer,
it. Wow.
and I can't tell. I can't tell. Oh my.
Can't tell what's
What's
good.
what's good, what's not good.
Right.
And are they dated at least? So
Some
you-
of them are.
Oh, jeez.
Some of them are.
Wow.
And some of them are wrong. You know, it said this was adopted January
And-
2014,
And it wasn't. Wow.
And I don't always trust markups, cause markups, if you go in your history, that doesn't always work right.
With like the fire department ordinance.
Right.
There's two other versions of it in there. One, and the third version refers to language in the second version that was adopted, but there's no sign that it was ever adopted.
Ha.
You know, so I'm sitting there scratching my head going, I
Wow.
don't know.
real?
So,
Yeah.
yeah, what's real, and we gotta work on
Right.
this, so. So that's a
It's
list.
housekeeping is what it is.
It
but
is, it's a lot of
Still
that.
has to be.
But it's
you
the
know.
same way, your ordinance restricting vehicle weight, that's part of your traffic ordinance, I believe.
It was listed with it, but
Yeah.
it's actually a policy, is it a policy
It's
or
an
an
ordinance.
ordinance?
It's a separate ordinance.
It's a separate ordinance, but because it's vehicle weight, they could pass it without a,
Correct.
correct, so
But
that's
what I'm
why.
saying though is,
It was in
you
there.
have it here, but
It
it's
was in
also
there.
part of the traffic ordinance as well,
They did, yeah,
so.
and then they separated them out.
Alcohol sale prohibition, that's gotta be,
Gone, isn't it?
yeah, I
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
mean, if we can strike them if they're not in force anymore.
yeah. I had just hadn't had a chance to go and look when it was,
Maybe there
Gone.
should be a catalog of their demise.
I
Yeah.
think so.
So,
I
yeah,
think
so then a person can't say, well, we used to have
Yeah,
that, and you're
beginning,
right,
middle,
we
and
did,
end,
and
yes, we
here's
did,
where
and
it went.
here it is,
Yeah,
and, yep, have a file of all the ones that have been retired.
yeah,
there's
Yep.
the sewer
cause if you ever
policy.
existed, if
They
you're not gonna
need
exist,
to
we have to know where you went.
Cease to exist,
Yeah, yep,
yeah.
You have this sewer policy, 1977.
Whoa. Now, are all of these policies and ordinances digitized? Are they all on the computer, or are some,
They're all-
you know, a piece of paper that you found somewhere?
Well, I think some might be scanned into the computer.
Okay, but they're all on, okay,
Yes.
okay, gotcha. Okay. So you weren't looking in?
No, who
a
knows what
filing cabinet?
Who knows what I might, I've been looking in filing cabinets, and
Okay.
who knows what I might find.
Okay,
but,
so-
Yeah.
But
Okay.
is the sewer policy from 1977 still applicable for today's standards?
It's about, if you have to dig up roadway, the town does it, not the person. You know, if you own
Oh.
property here and your sewer is across the road,
Camp roads, basically, is what it's.
the town.
we have so little development that we can't
Yeah.
imagine the ramifications,
So,
but here in Brunswick,
I don't-
Those are all
this makes
private
total
roads.
sense.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah,
would be for-
well, it wouldn't be for us.
Right.
I don't know what the,
I bet you somewhere in this town, there's somebody that sewer's on the wrong side of the
From the road.
road.
Yep.
Oh,
And that's why
guaranteed it.
that's
Yeah.
where that come from.
Yeah.
Has to be, I mean, they wouldn't.
and it's
why
only,
would you
it's only a
ever-
policy, so,
Correct.
you know, it's not, and it's only about this, this
Oh.
long, and, I mean, we could strike it or whatever we think we ought to do, but I just thought
It'd
you ought
just
to
be
see a
nice to be able to
list.
clean them up and get them in a way that
Yes.
everybody knows what they are.
Yeah,
And if it's like that, if it's a valid that you want on the books and it needs to stay there,
yeah,
I'm not against keeping it, I
Right.
just,
Right.
yeah.
Even
You
a
have to
flow
visit
chart,
it.
like if you're gonna put culverts in under, you could have the policy and then the sub chapters,
Yep.
so
Sure.
you know where to find that.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I think that's a good project. But you know what, we've been working on policies for quite a while, and
It just keeps growing.
Yeah, then you have to
they're
go
hard to get a bow
back
on.
and
But
go again.
I kinda like, at least now, we have in front of us.
Yep,
Right. Right.
And I'll add to it as I find more. I added one to mine that isn't on yours. It's the representation by electronic media. Back when Irving was going to Florida for the winter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And it's about to be made, I think, illegal unless you pass it at town meeting. So
Really?
there's a law in to make it that way. So we'll see if
Wow.
it passes or not.
Yeah.
so you
That's
couldn't
interesting.
attend a meeting through FaceTime if the
Right.
law you think is gonna pass, passes.
Well, if it passes, supposedly it's gonna pass so that you'd have to take it to your town meeting
Oh,
and
and
vote,
then
and vote it
make it
in, that,
official,
make it
yeah.
official, and there's some issues like, executive session and.
Sure.
And those kind of things, I think that they're gonna, I haven't read it, but I got a little bulletin that said this is coming
Wow.
through the, I'm like, oh, guess we better make sure
Not
that's
to
in.
get too far off topic, did you see that they're going to address the abandoned roads and
Yeah, I
there's,
can.
I don't know exactly the meat of the legislation, but
I
they,
saw that.
they referenced Ohio Street where these
Oh, yeah.
people
Well,
basically.
that comes up every year.
Yeah, I know, but they're finally going, because, I mean, you know, you have a situation where the town says there's a easement,
Yeah.
but they won't fix it, and you can't fix it, I guess they're gonna try to put some common sense in this thing.
That's good.
But that particular conversation, I don't think that's kinda, they all think that the people there want that to be a town way, and they want the town to fix it. I mean,
That's not what this is, this has
no,
to
I
do
know
with-
that, but that's, the Ohio Street's not really, that's what that's more about. They all know what it is, they all
Yeah.
get told every
Yeah, no, they
Yeah.
just wanna get.
They want-
they
want-
Let's do it one more time
Yeah,
and see if
that's
the
right, or,
answer's
I think it
different.
was to this telephone pole, not that
Yes.
telephone.
Yeah.
We've been there before.
Yeah.
Buddy.
Okay.
All right, so do we want to start on the competitive
Yeah,
Yes.
bidding
Sure.
Yes.
policy?
So when when we first started and we
Yep.
named these two, what I'd really, I'd like to eliminate one.
Yep,
Meaning-
okay,
We don't need both.
okay,
My own opinion, B, was really back when when you have public works and you have a director and you had a lot more pieces involved that we no longer have.
yep,
It was my kind
Yep.
of process.
yeah, the only thing, I guess, where competitive bidding could fall well outside the, roads project. In other words, if we needed a new roof, that would be totally separate, and it would still fall,
Yeah.
perhaps, depending on its cost, under competitive bidding.
Yeah.
I don't know what, there's probably other examples, like, you know,
Well,
paving
the
this
first one I
parking
did the
lot.
foundation and,
Yeah, exactly,
yeah.
that's,
Oh,
so.
I mean,
Yeah.
So in that sense, there would be projects that might fall under that.
yep,
So I guess in that, if you wanted to have one, it would be competitive bidding, which would encompass roads as well as foundations and
Anything
roofs and
else.
everything else.
town related for
Right.
any project.
Any
the town's gonna
expenditure
do.
beyond X.
Right.
Sure, that's,
Yeah.
yes, that's kinda,
Yep.
short, sweet and simple. I mean,
I agree, I think that's maybe,
Yep.
because all that public works language is out. We don't need any of that. And the road commissioner's role, it needs to be clarified for the expenditures that pertain to what he or she does,
Right.
but that still falls under competitive bidding. It's a guide for him or her to use
yep.
in conjunction with the town manager. So maybe we can put all of this under competitive bidding price quotes.
yeah,
Right.
price
Right.
quotes I think really needs to be there, cause
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
could-
yeah, leave that.
You
That's
could
very
make the
good.
price quotes and then just do a,
Price
Job.
quotes and bidding or,
well, or a job definition for road commissioner, I don't know.
the road, road commissioner is clearly outlined
Okay,
through, through the state. I
the
don't
state, yeah,
Think
yeah,
we need to,
worry about it, okay,
yeah, the commissioner's job like, is I think is reasonably well outlined. This is what he or she needs to do to spend money.
Yeah,
Well, no, this is what he needs, if any project that he feels is more than X, this is what he needs to do.
Yeah, I guess that's,
Yeah. And basically all it is you need to price shop. I mean, you can call it bid or quote or price comparison or analysis, however verbiage you want, but it's not, this is where we get in trouble, or we don't get in trouble, but this is where people don't understand, because when you use bid, they're thinking a federal bidding process where you have a 20-page document of every step that you're gonna do and that's not what we do. We don't do that with any project we do.
but even if you bid it out, if you need more shim, or you need more this or that, it's going to be more than the quote,
It's all plus or minus.
You can't hold
No,
them to the bid, so there's no,
There's nobody gonna write it, there's
Right.
nobody gonna write you anything.
Right.
That's gonna lock them
right,
to a tonnage, or to a, that specific.
yeah. Well, if
Well, they may, but it's gonna be
Well,
way high, I mean.
or if they did, they get to, okay, we did this much tonnage, we're done, done, wherever we stopped.
wherever we run out
yeah,
of the money.
Yeah, we stopped. But, so yeah, I don't know exactly how,
Now, what you wrote on as far as like the 20,000, is that a number that you're throwing out there?
I
Becky?
threw that out.
Okay.
Mike threw
I-
that
and
out
I
there.
just, it was
Okay.
just to,
Sure,
just so that we would talk about whether we wanna move that number, that's the
Okay.
only reason I just,
okay.
so. I was trying to find the part in the original where they go from describing the bidding process, and then they said alternatively, which,
It's right here, right here. It's a very last sentence on the first paragraph
Okay.
of the competitive bid.
There,
'Cause
okay.
when I started reading it, I thought, wait, well, I knew there was a.
right, because
caveat
I
that-
always felt like there's all this structure,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
at
it's
the
a-
very end, it's like,
But
or
guess what?
not.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I was looking for that today when I was reading this, and it's right there. Alternatively, the town manager may solicit bids directly from vendors, but no award will be made without the approval.
So I guess, do we even need all of that kabuki dance? Just forget the word alternative, the town manager may solicit bids / quotes.
Directly from vendors.
The idea that you
Add it
have
all
to
into, make that all one sentence, get rid of all the crap.
get all of that, newspaper ads and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, you can do it however you need to.
yeah, if you can't find someone to do the work over the phone, then maybe you would run an ad, but
Yeah.
I always I think some citizens thought there was an obligation on the part of the town to run itself similar to the way the state spends money. That you have to run ads and has to be awarded and has to be a secret bid. We're not required to do any of that. We
Yeah,
can
but-
run our town the same way you would run your sawmill.
One of the guys who was going to shred stumps, the ladies told him that they weren't sure if they needed to be a sealed bid, because they didn't know he was gonna show up, and I'm like, is it more than $10,000 to shred? No, I'm like, well.
right, it doesn't.
It doesn't apply in any way.
No,
shape,
it doesn't show
form, or-
even close.
Yeah.
Even if it was, even
Even
if
if
it
it
was a
wasn't.
$20,000 project, you can still get on the phone and call as many people as you want.
Doesn't need to be a
and say-
sealed bid even in that.
Yeah.
No.
Right, just talk about it
Right.
openly, and
Right.
so it's not nearly as complicated as some people think
Right.
that it is.
I mean, if you go to Abbott, they don't, I'm very confident they don't do any of this.
Yeah,
Up in Abbott, if they need to do something, they pick up the phone and they get it done.
They just do
Yeah.
it.
You know, they don't have, there's no structure
yeah,
for any of this type of.
Well, and especially with the green, with the corrections that were made, it's even more ridiculous, all of this stuff, because before it was will do this, and now if we do change it to may, then it's like,
it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we knew you could do that.
we
That's
know
why
we can
you
do that, we know we can put it.
Right, and
behind
that's
the
why I
vehicle.
did that,
Right,
because I
right,
said, that's just,
right,
if you have alternatively, we don't need will.
Correct. Yeah,
Exactly.
will never fit there because.
right, right. So, Yeah, so
Well,
the
even if
question.
you're talking about $1,000 project, I'm likely to call several.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
nothing
of
wrong with
course.
that.
Sure.
Now, what will
You know,
happen is
'cause-
you'll get to
yeah.
know people, and
Yeah.
you say, okay, I've used these guys
Right,
5 times on this, and
Right,
so,
I always know that
Yeah.
they're,
they
yeah.
do good work, they show up when they're supposed to, and they fail.
right, and they're
Yeah.
fair and, right.
Yeah.
So, I do think that this, it's just, cause I think I don't know how the last sentence got added, but it seems as though it got
An
added
afterthought.
at one point or
Well, it's
another.
almost like I can imagine they've got all the structure,
Yeah, yeah.
and then the town manager says, you know, it's gonna be really hard to get anything done. Okay, alternatively, and then, so they made it so you could get
Yeah.
stuff done.
Right, so it really does need to be rewritten.
Yeah,
Really,
Right.
the only thing it needs to say, and I can way off, is the policy of the town of Sangerville. That, so the first sentence is pretty good. Will require contracted services that may be reasonably expected of the town in excess of more than X. We'll leave it at X for now.
Okay,
Price quotes will be
will be
sought.
sought.
yep,
Period.
period.
Forget the rest.
Yeah, because everything else is self-evident. You're gonna get on the phone, you could send a letter, I mean, you're gonna walk through all of these, price quotes will be
Now,
sought.
but what about the second part of that, as far as the approval, no award will be made without the approval? I mean, do
Oh,
we
that's
need?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that
I
is
just meant
fine.
to skip.
Okay, okay,
I meant
yeah,
to
all
skip
the,
the newspaper
In
and,
fact, that's about where you're gonna pick up.
yeah, exactly.
where are we now?
The second part of the very last sentence says.
Then there's but, and then no
No
award.
award will be made without the approval of the selectmen at a regular or special board meeting. And you've taken out the majority, cause it has to be it's a vote,
Correct.
so
Right.
that's.
And when you get to an expenditure above X, the select board wants a say.
Right,
Correct.
That's,
right,
and that's all reasonable.
right, so do we wanna land on a
looks
dollar
pretty
amount?
good.
Yeah,
I think we're
yeah,
done.
Yeah.
No, I think we're totally done.
Wait a minute, we're really close.
Okay. Wait, are we landing on $20,000? Did we
I
decide
don't
that?
like 20,000 myself, but
You do?
I don't.
Okay.
You
I don't
want
mind
30?
10. No, I don't mind the 10,
You don't mind the 10?
no.
But what happens beyond 10 then?
That's when you would price quote.
Yeah, then
Oh, okay,
if,
I see. what
I
you're
just
saying.
felt
You
like
raised the bar.
for inflation and all the stuff, you know, something
Well,
above
really,
10.
This
but-
is, and this is where,
Parkman has 25.
where it can get
Who does?
clunky,
Parkman,
Oh, really?
that's what Seth told us.
but that's where it got clunky, well, but if you price quote out for your culverts, you kinda get an idea of what somebody's gonna charge you to do a culvert. So, but then we got into this, well, we're gonna do 5, so you gotta bid that, and I don't really agree, but I just think that at $20,000, the only thing you're ever gonna, you're never gonna shop around for a price unless you're gonna do pavement. That's it. Or a major project.
And it's worth shopping for a smaller project.
Well, no, it doesn't say that you can't shop.
I know, but
Just like Brian
I'm
just
saying
said,
you will.
even if I'm gonna spend $1,000,
This,
I'm
to
not
me,
gonna pick up the phone.
Right.
this to me is nothing, if,
Right,
I understand fully. I firmly believe that Bridie will
well, do that.
dot her i's and cross her t's.
Right,
But to me, a policy isn't always about today.
right.
Right.
It's about the
That's true.
future and the way the next round of everybody is gonna view things. That's why
So-
we could gravel every one of our roads and never have to price shop. I mean, that's kinda scary. That's my only,
Yeah,
and I don't think 10's gonna put it back to a point of where it's
Too
still
much
gonna be
work.
that, too much work.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
but if you're gonna ditch an entire road, you're not gonna hit 10.
well, I spent, when they did the Upper River, I think it was 11, 12 grand. That was a big project.
Yeah. So I mean, you're still,
And even then, they didn't do it one day. Cause it's always been, you know, if you did 3 culverts today and you spent 6 grand, and next week you did another 3 culverts, that's a different,
different
it's a
project.
different
That
project.
was always been,
Yeah,
which, it's,
Well, I'm trying to decide how clunky this is gonna be for Seth.
even he has a hard time spending $10,000 in a
in a
day.
pop.
Yeah.
And that's how you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you
Right,
send
right,
him,
yeah.
like the project we got him up there on, what's gotta do with feeders? Obviously, even at 20,000, you're gonna have to get quotes, cause
Yeah.
none of us no idea if that's gonna hit 10, 20, 30, 40. We don't even have a clue.
Yeah.
So that's a definite, but, I don't see where else.
It would be rare that 10 is gonna slow him down, because he's not gonna do 10 in a day.
Right.
No.
And I guess if he was, we'd probably wanna know about it.
Right. And if you guys, if you're gonna project, you're gonna go over 10.
The other thing is
Not a bad
changing
day.
this drastically, not changing that number.
Right.
Would be,
I
we can
agree
always
with you there.
increase the number next year if we're
Right.
like, hey,
Yeah.
you know, this is going
Yeah, we'll
smooth,
just
but
scooch
we
it up a
banged into
bit.
12
Yeah,
or 10
yeah.
over and over.
Yeah, and we can
Leave that
see.
number.
We can.
I just don't think it's gonna impede
Yeah,
it,
I-
really.
No, I like that. I think that's a good idea because as you said, it's such a drastic change. Let's pare it down first and then.
See what happens.
Revisit. So we'll leave it at 10,000, yeah?
Yep,
Do we
that's
need
fine.
anything else that's on this paper?
Oh.
No, because most of it is just repeating.
The road commission, all of this to do with the road commission is clearly already outlined. It's all under state, I mean, you're just repeating what we're just burning paper.
Ink.
The board of selectmen will review contracts for services on an annual, okay, we do that. Yeah. I guess that should be in there. I mean, we do review those contracts.
This is
Yeah,
kinda,
accounting leaves.
this part
Yeah, that.
kinda contradicts, and we always do this, and I think it's a good practice, but it doesn't really meet what we're saying above, but like roadside mowing. Pretty confident roadside mowing's doesn't hit $10,000 a year,
Nope.
but we always solicit a price check. Mowing the ball field, another scenario.
Cemeteries come close, or
I
probably.
think they're there
so-
now.
They're there now, yeah.
So, that's why I was, maybe the review the contracts, or a wording about contractual services period. Or annual services, maybe?
I think so. I think we should review those. Don't you?
I'm just trying to figure out the word of,
Oh,
so cause those are annual things you need to have done.
Right.
That you know you're always gonna have contracted.
But we don't get involved in those contracts we haven't historically got involved in contracts that are in the office, whether it's a copier contract or
no, we haven't.
Correct.
No.
internet service or whatever.
The internet service we did.
Well, we
Well.
negotiated it away, but that's fine. But I mean, those sorts of contracts, I don't know how many there are, if any, but the
And actually,
cleaning,
the-
did we
the
do
printer-
cleaning?
Yeah, I think we've done them all.
We have
Yeah.
done the cleaning.
Even the
before.
printer, I mean, that's why
The
we approved the printer. 'cause-
Right,
Yeah.
right, but have we revisited that since?
Yeah,
I
no,
don't think so.
Yeah, well, maybe it was a 3-year contract.
Well, and those are notoriously hard to get the right answer, you go through it with everybody and they're sure it's gonna save you money and you get down to it and it's like, well, crap, this didn't save me
When do we
any
start
money.
the saving part?
Yeah,
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 right, exactly.
what happened here and how?
Yeah, yeah.
I just would
so
like to see
frustrating.
something about the annual, cause
Yep,
I think it is important that we put that out there. There again, it needs to be worded in a way that we're not always taking the lowest bid, cause we clearly don't do that.
well, it says,
We take the best
Yeah,
service.
that language should be in there, that, I mean, and even using the word bid,
quotes for projects or contracts shall be clear and subject to examination by the board. Proof of insurance and workers' comp, that's required.
That's all net, I mean, that's,
The board is not bound to accept the lowest quote
yep,
on a project, but cost to the town will be a factor, yeah. I don't know if you wanna take out the part about the signing of contracts, or you want me to be able to,
I think you should be able to.
okay, so
Yeah, we
that's
approve.
still
Yeah.
We
needed, that's
approve,
still
you
needed.
sign.
sure.
Um,
And that's the other thing, I mean, so now that I read this, if you start back out, the Board of Selectmen review contracts for services on an annual basis. And that's more or less what you're saying, it's accounting, legal, assessing, computer, it's not really what I'm thinking as far as mowing.
Mowing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
All of those
Yeah,
type of
bigger-
services.
Yeah. May renew existing contract without, if they're satisfied with the service provided.
But There again, what
So-
I'm saying really isn't contractual, is it? It's just you're reaching out to somebody, it's not a contract, well, I guess you could.
What,
verbiage it.
mowing?
Yeah.
Like mowing?
Roadside is a
That's a
contract.
contract,
Assessing the contract.
that's right.
So the thing is, roadside mowing is,
It's just a,
the ball field mowing wasn't, it was just a bid.
correct, well, that's all roadside mowing is, I believe.
We don't.
Well, I have a
thought it
site-
said
I have a
contract.
contract.
I
Is it
thought-
legit contract?
I
I
have a
thought we
contract,
did,
Okay.
yeah, I
could
do
be
remember
wrong.
that.
Okay.
yeah. But the other
Snow
one,
removal,
don't.
obviously, that's the big
It's
contract.
above and beyond us, though.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just somehow put that kind of stuff in there,
Okay,
cause that's, there again, that's how stuff is also falling short, because we don't have it listed.
Uh-huh. That's good.
so do you want language that says these things will be,
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna do that.
okay.
I just suggest I let you fine tune it.
You want to delineate them so that it's binding us to say, oh, we need to do that every year.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, well, I do, no, I think we should too. You know,
And
that's
to me,
something-
roadside mowing is honestly, nothing against it, but when we do put that out to bid, those price quotes go from one extreme to
I
the
know,
other.
I know.
All over the place, yeah.
So I could see where you could be, I'm not saying that dealing with the same person every year is a bad thing, but you could, if you didn't do that,
It's worth checking.
right, I mean, you could, not knowing be,
You could mow twice for some of
Correct.
those.
some of them were 3, I mean.
Other-
Now, there again, we have other services that we don't take the lowest on because we see the value in the service that we're getting. And that's fine, is fine too, so, I mean,
What about plowing? You don't want the annual language, or you do want the annual
Well,
language?
plowing, didn't we do a
We
3-year
signed a
contract?
3-year contract.
And anything beyond one
Yeah,
has to
yeah.
go to the town meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
And maybe that should be in here, maybe that, we should note that
Mm-hmm.
any contract beyond one
yeah.
requires approval at town meeting.
doesn't have to be, cause that's, I mean, you can, but there again, that's the way it is.
At least, I'm thinking
Do we
5
wanna
years
be-
from now, when
do
there's
we
a select
wanna-
board reading the policy, they'll see that, that's all.
Do we want to be bound to that? As far as,
That's a good question, I think if, that's one of those things that if you tried to undo it, you might get some
right, so.
squawking.
Like in my first year, prime example, why it should be, or something should be here, because we approved cemeteries. And the gentleman was here and told him we'd give him a 2-year contract. Right here.
Jim, yeah.
I didn't know the difference. I was new. I mean, not trying to have that
Right.
excuse, but first month or so, we did that. I mean, afterwards, it's like, ooh, you can't do that, so
Oh, yeah,
we actually verbally made a commitment.
And
Is,
did you have
where
to
is that
redo
ordinance, do you know?
Or-
Is that
I
on
gave him a
here?
1-year
Which one?
contract.
The ordinance that
Still here.
requires us to go with
Service as
anything
well,
beyond a
so we
year.
just-
Okay.
No, I didn't see one.
Okay, well, I'm just wondering if it's one of these
So-
imagined ordinances.
What's that?
The
Yeah.
requirement that we go, cause it's not on her list that we just looked at.
Sorry.
To only be a year. I haven't seen,
If there is no such ordinance, then we don't need to address it. If there is, we need to, we probably should put that language in there so that nobody gets tripped up.
Is
Right,
it,
All right.
is it in the big book, not in the little book?
this is. Dog control, appeals, personnel, public and DC, animal obedience. Nope, I've run out of numbers and nothing,
no.
nothing in there. I'll search the computer, see if I can find something, anything.
We've all heard it said.
Right.
It's just, I
Yeah,
wonder if
back
it's
when the
been writing
plowing
somewhere.
came up, I heard,
That's
heard
right.
it said,
But-
but what was the argument? That it was an ordinance?
No. I
That it
just
was state
always-
law?
I've
That
always
it
heard of the
was-
state myself.
That's possible. that would explain,
Oh, then that we don't have it.
right, why we wouldn't have an ordinance
If it's state law.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just need to determine.
A lot of
whether it's-
ordinances,
they're still reading state, they're still state.
they're still state law, it's like,
Well, that's why I'd really like to clean this, there's a lot of stuff that I think we're good at killing ink.
Yeah.
You're really writing the same thing twice. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
Well, and I think you're given a lot of leeway, you can be more strenuous or have a higher hurdle than the state, but not
You can't,
lower.
right.
So you might say, 2-year contract has to go before, whereas the state says 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the rule is.
Plus, I think it's easier for some people, once you put it into the policy, it's out there in the public, and they see it, they don't see the main, what we
Sure.
see is the officer manual and all that, so.
Yeah.
Either way.
All right, so I'll look into that. All right. So are we keeping most of this last paragraph?
It's pretty much, yeah, I guess it's just a procedure.
yeah.
Yeah, in action to enforce a contract, I would guess,
Fails
if
on
you're gonna spend
terms.
some money on legal, probably we should know about that.
That's not too bad.
Yep.
No, that's not bad at all.
So the road commissioner paragraph we don't need, we've decided.
The one above it we don't need.
And okay,
Do we? I mean,
I,
I don't see why we need that. There again, I believe this was in place when we had a town, this and the other was trying to define roles when we had a town employee being a road commissioner and trying to define the difference between
The
two-
roles,
the
the
two
two
roles within the town. And I don't think we need that any longer.
But we still have a road commissioner.
Correct, state statute
Yeah.
says he's not. I mean,
Okay,
if you go by
okay.
that,
our
that's,
problem was that we had a public works
Right.
employee who, as a public works employee, had to report to the town manager. As road commissioner, I believe you report to the select board, and so
it's clunky.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
clunky, and if there are any disagreements between
Like,
the,
oh no, I was road commissioner when I did that.
Yeah.
That's why
Oh
a
no,
lot
I
of
was
this
town.
was,
like, that
Yeah.
was my job, you can't tell me what to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
with it, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I'm not going over there right now. I've got other things to do.
Yeah.
No, I'm busy.
Okay.
so anyway, that's why I said,
I
I
see,
think the
I
way,
see.
the direction we're in now, I don't think we need all of that.
Yep.
We should be okay to, and there again, it's a policy, so if we make this amendment and Bridie says, geez, we really need to put this in here, okay?
Yeah.
let's do it.
Okay, we'll visit it and
Sure.
we can always add.
Tweak it every week
Yeah.
if you want.
Sure.
Yep.
That's
Whatever you need to do, I just think
I would
short,
hope we
sweet,
don't.
and
Yeah,
simple.
I think you're right, because we can always then add on instead of having all this fluff in here. Okay. I think that's good.
So are we thinking we're getting rid of the administrative policy for road projects?
Well, that is a good question. Most of it, I think, for sure, but some of this, they're citing state statute. I question why.
Why you need it written here, if it's a state stat, every paragraph has it.
Yeah, and I pulled some of that.
The only thing that's not in there is the paragraph that talks about the road committee. Every other paragraph quotes state statute.
Well, in every, you give a charge to the road committee anyway, so,
Doesn't need to be in here.
No, don't we already have something for all of our, a
Yeah,
breakdown of
yeah,
committee and what they
yeah,
need, what,
yep,
so we don't need
yep.
that?
No, doesn't need to be in here.
And this current description of the road commissioner's duties, we really haven't been, I've never worked under a scenario where we really did it this way. I mean, they may have done it back when we had public works.
No, that's there again, that's what this is all about. This
Yeah.
is, you have a public works director as a town employee who is also a road commissioner, and you're trying to define the two roles, the two hats that one person wore.
I see, I see.
I put in that language regarding the state rate because that that's kind of a new approach. I mean, it's something that Parkman always did, but I think it was how we felt like, okay, there's a mechanism there that protects the town. You can't go spending 3 times
Right.
what it normally would cost.
Yeah,
So I just thought that that should be documented. I
Yep.
mean, I'm not sure it has to be there, but,
The only thing about that is, prime example is the Gray, when we did that up on Gray Hill Road, we paid well above state rate. But as far as the project, it was the lowest bid.
right, no, you might be in a situation where you can't get it done. That would, now you're gonna be getting quotes, and you're gonna come back to the board and say, listen, I had to exceed state rate, because I can't get anybody to do it. That's okay. But if he has ongoing day-to-day things, that he can go ahead and get it done as long as it's at or below state rate.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Just
but this
because
sort
it's
of
at
holds
state
you, 'cause
rate
it says-
does not mean that it's gonna get done cheaper.
No,
Oh, yeah.
it's not that it's necessarily the cheapest.
It's
that
just-
it's safe. It's reasonable, I guess. It's not that you can't find somebody who might do it for less. That's,
but.
No, but what I'm saying. oh,
No,
sorry.
go on, no, well, just in that it says all work done by the road commissioner or contractors has to be, that the commissioner has hired is to be compensated at or below state rate. So that doesn't,
Contradicts itself.
it doesn't work, just in light of what you were just saying.
how does it contradict itself?
Well, because that's what I'm saying. What I explained was on Gray Hill, all state rate is an hourly rate, period.
Right, and it's a set rate.
Depending on the
right,
task and the equipment.
Right.
But it's
Okay.
still a set rate, and I set hourly rate.
Yeah, and I printed off of set,
So-
so that I know
Okay.
what it.
Up there, we paid above state rate.
Okay, so that,
Which-
we would be
which-
violating what this
This
sentence says, right? Wouldn't, don't
No.
you-
Well,
You'd have to
no.
get permission.
No, it says
Where does
all
it-
work will be done by.
but yeah, we would
Doesn't
have to
say-
say then if we
Oh, well,
can't
no,
get it,
then,
I'd
yeah,
say that-
exactly. We need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
clause that,
that says, right,
or this happens.
right. If we can't do the work at state rate, if we don't get any quotes or bids.
No, I thought that was kind of self-evident, that if you can't, you're gonna seek permission if you're gonna exceed these parameters.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Ah,
It's kinda like the $10,000.
okay. So then I think you'd have to say that, cause I don't, my brain didn't get that.
Yep.
Okay,
So I
Maybe
think,
that means you're
right,
saying,
that you didn't get
I
that,
didn't get that either.
right.
okay.
I just have a problem with it. I mean, you're saying by saying you're gonna match state rate, it's just saying, I'm not gonna pay more than this per hour.
Okay,
And
no,
that's-
I
think-
understand what
I
you're
think
saying.
that that's irrelevant
What,
as a
so,
whole.
we need to say, if you're going to, the whole reason that they approached it that way in Parkman, if I understood him correctly, was that allowed him to go get work done.
Yeah,
And but he couldn't exceed that rate. If he was going to, he had to go back to them and say, guys, I can't do it for that, I can't find anybody to do it for that, so here's what it's gonna be. And they would say either yay or nay. That's how I imagined us doing the same thing.
Well, if he doesn't wanna do it for state rate, I think you should get somebody else
Correct.
to do it. I mean, he shouldn't say, well, I couldn't find anybody else willing to do it for state rate, and I don't wanna do it for that, so I'll do it for this.
But just
No,
because you're
then-
paying
Then
state
you would,
rate,
see, somebody's gonna have to approve that.
Right,
but what I'm saying is just because you're paying state rate on any project, does not mean you're getting the project done the cheapest that you can,
So
most
you're-
cost effective way,
right.
is what I'm saying.
so you're saying it's setting a number, it's setting us up unnecessarily so, is that what?
Yeah, I mean, you're going with a mindset that I'm only gonna pay this much. Well, you're only gonna pay this much at this level, not this level. Just because you only pay $25 an hour for somebody to do something, and I pay you pay me 25, that's state rate.
Right.
You're saying you'll do it at 30.
Right,
But it'll
And
take
when
you
we're all
half the
said and
time.
done, I charge more than you do. You didn't gain anything by saying you're only gonna go state rate.
yeah.
You were faster, you were more efficient, you did the
Right.
Well, those
job.
kind of variables, you can't, I mean,
I
yeah.
get ya.
That's life, that's the way it is in business though, because.
yeah, but you're
that's-
not gonna get a quote, you're not gonna know that.
Sure you do.
What
That's-
about the guy who says, okay, state rate's 25, I'll do it for 15? You don't even know about that guy,
Yeah,
Correct.
okay?
But that
but you
job
can
up
do
there,
that
we had,
all
what we
day.
did was that was a bid. How much you gonna charge to ditch this all out? I get this much money, that's what it's gonna cost you in the end to do it. So we knew what his hourly rate was, and we knew what the end price was gonna be. And we had other people that went up there and said that we know that charge less, but the price was more for them to do it, is what I'm saying. So I just don't like the idea of only looking at you're looking at things in one direction by putting that in there instead of looking at it as a whole. That's my only concern. We can word it
I
right.
want a
I'm
way
all
for this road commissioner to be able to do his work
Yeah.
every day. Without saying, okay, today I have to get another quote for the same job that I did yesterday on another road.
This doesn't have anything to do with that. We just said $10,000 is not gonna impede it.
Well, then, we don't even need to mention the rate.
That's,
Okay.
correct. That's kinda where I'm going. It's all part of price shopping.
I just thought the rate gave us some safety. That if the state rate is 25, you can't be charging us 50, even though you didn't spend 10 grand. That's all.
It's all back to what you're gonna find out in price quotes. And price shopping.
Yeah, but who's
You
price
could even
shopping?
just say
Who's
state
price
rate as a
shopping, me or-
guide, I don't.
Me or the road
Either
commissioner?
one.
Well, no,
This says-
that's a fair question.
This says town manager. That's what this says.
Which sentence?
It says town of Sangerville.
Yep,
I mean, this whole thing was based off town manager, actually.
but the road commissioner has the authority to employ the necessary personnel and equipment and purchase material for the repair of highways and bridges with the approval of the town manager. So he needs to come to me and say, okay, I'm going to do the line road.
Correct. And I guess
and
at
I
that
want-
point, you
and-
could say, is it gonna be $10 an hour or $50 an hour?
And he's
No,
gonna
it's
say,
gonna-
and I wanna get the gravel out of this pit.
He's gonna tell you how much it costs, period.
Yeah,
We have a policy that's $10,000. If it's under $10,000, it's your discretion
yeah.
to do it. If
Yeah,
you-
in fact, you even have, I would say, she would have the authority to say, you know what? I'll let you know tomorrow, and you could make a call if you really wanted
That's,
to.
either way, but I mean,
That's you, man.
that's how I'm viewing that.
Yeah.
I mean, if he gives you the numbers, you throw them on paper, and it comes out at 9,500, and I know you, so yeah, that's pretty close to 10, I'm gonna reach out and ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine. Now, if he throws stuff down on the paper and it comes in, you've got something in front of you and he's coming in at 8 grand, and you say, go ahead, and he gets halfway through it and the whole hell happens, and he's gotta dump 5 more into it.
Yep.
You're still okay, because the way this is worded is,
It seems like this is another document that essentially, once you get to that, with the approval of the town manager, period, you're pretty much done.
Yeah, that's right.
correct.
Everything else just gets, it's a
It
repeat.
just goes
It all
on
flows
and
back to the
on,
top
yeah.
and
It's
Correct.
circled.
town
But
manager.
the way this, but I mean, as far as for Bridie, for her security, the way this is worded is contracted services that may reasonably be expected.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying, if the road commissioner, or any contractor, if they come to you at 8,500, you're reasonably expecting that to be under 10.
And this,
If the oh shit happens and then you gotta dump 5 more into it, you've got a piece of paper that says, I reasonably thought that was gonna be under 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like it's,
yeah,
There's no way to
and
know that there were big boulders in the,
you're never
Right.
gonna
you
know.
know, or
and
that-
even if it's
No.
well under 10, if your radar is saying, you know, I wanna make a call, you have the authority.
You can do whatever you wanna do.
Yeah.
It's not a, you can
We're
read.
gonna put all this on a 3x5 card.
I know, yeah, maybe we should, that's what I'm thinking, we're really wasting paper.
I mean,
Okay,
I'm down here at the bottom, it says, all purchases except routine maintenance supplies
Oh.
over $100. I mean, that's.
Seriously.
Serious, that's,
Yeah,
of course, that kinda goes back to probably Public Works language.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, you're into that
Yeah.
whole,
Drive to Scouting and get a V-belt, charge $200 worth of mileage, I mean, that kinda stuff could happen.
What?
In a crazy
Well-
world. Could
Well,
have.
Seth just had to, purchase a shovel. I'm like, what do you suppose the rest of our shovels went?
are you kidding?
Nope. So, you know, I may have to go. But there ought to be a way, I mean,
oh my goodness.
there ought to be a way that, you know, if somebody buys a shovel, your software tracks,
Right,
Track.
because that belongs to us, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we-
our
used to.
show. That's
We've asked forever for an inventory, and we've never
Yeah.
really,
Well, they started one.
you know.
Well, now everything in that building's ours. There's
Yeah.
nobody else's tools or toolbox, it's all ours, so.
Right, whatever's in there is
is-
ours.
yeah.
No, that, I mean, we kinda just, I'm gonna change gears 100%, but we do have a truck up there. Is that truck gonna get inspected this year? Is it gonna get run? Does Seth need to use it? It's all stuff you might wanna ask him.
Yeah. Well, in
We
here-
did use it last year, didn't we? Even,
But we did, it cost us quite a bit of money to use it, but we did.
Because, why did it cost so much?
Because we had an instance where something happened and it went over a bunch of rocks and
Oh, yeah.
the linkage come off the clutch and messed up the hood and,
That was that last year or 2 years
I
ago?
think it was last year, wasn't it?
I'm just thinking like with all that stump work that we're probably ultimately gonna be doing, maybe that truck in the queue would matter, but maybe it won't, I don't know. Seth is the one to ask.
Well, that's where I was kinda, I
Yeah.
mean, it's up to Seth, but,
Well, I was kinda hoping Seth would be here and we'd kinda lay out that project. This is what we all think is going to happen and then, you know.
Well,
our
I would say
expectations.
with regard to that, we probably ought to have a workshop with Seth or a
Okay.
special meeting with,
Yeah.
cause we
Just
wanna
to
get our ducks in a
address.
row.
Yeah, and I've had Pike's contact me and said, "Hey, you need closer to figuring out where you're gonna be
Oh.
and what
I
it
would
is."
really like to finalize, get him on Silver's Mills. Once that part, cause I mean, that's one project, this is another. If
So
he
you
can get
think that
that,
he can do Silver's Mills and then come back at some point and do?
It should be.
sure,
Sure.
shouldn't even be an issue.
Okay.
I mean,
But-
didn't they do that to us anyway?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
started and stopped,
Yeah.
and, yep,
They
I'll
gave
tell
us
you,
the
you go up
different
there, he's got a lot
price.
of, there's a lot of cracking up there.
there is, I've been over it too.
Um,
So, let's, I think we
I
really
know,
are
we're
off
really
track.
trying to avoid this.
Well, no, I'll make
All
a
right, so
motion, I'm ready.
I'll take another look at that and see if there's anything,
I mean, you seriously, we're striking everything,
if there's anything we,
Because it's not apropos.
yeah, or it's repetitive.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I scratched all that, and we're gonna get rid of all of this one, and we're gonna get rid of all of this one.
Oh, yeah, I'm done with that one already. See?
Are we all the way down to road committee, basically?
And the road committee, you're just gonna give
Oh,
them the
you're on
job.
that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to catch.
Oh, this one I thought we pretty much
Yep.
pruned.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
Yeah.
But we don't need the road committee,
We
everything
don't
is
need the road
gone,
committee, right?
we don't
I
need
mean,
any
we
of
have a
this.
No,
description of what
We
the
have a
road committee-
policy,
That's right,
okay.
of all the different
So that
committees.
isn't part of this.
So it just muddies the water when it's in this policy.
So do I need to make a motion to abolish this policy, or how does that work?
And then what we'll do is take that language at the top and put it over here with the
Which,
competitive bidding.
which part?
This road commissioner will, and all the way down to with the approval of town manager. End.
I don't think you need it.
You don't even want that direction?
I don't, do you need that? I mean, this, main roads manual, it clearly defines the road commit, that role.
Yeah, but I don't think it's bad to have that language so that the town manager can say, it says right here, I get to sign off on this.
I'm with you, but as long as you have that sentence that's quoting this article, it's already there, she already has that, is what I'm saying.
The
Because-
sentence in the,
Well, I haven't read MRSA 2701, I don't know that it says that about the town manager. That may have been, they may have added that, I don't know that.
wait a minute, I probably printed it. I at least read it.
I'm sure there are towns where
Didn't put it in that.
the commissioner doesn't need permission.
You read that, the roads book, it's pretty clear.
That the road commissioner needs.
I've read it, I'll read it again because,
Okay.
If it's in there,
See if
you're
there's
absolutely
anything-
right, we don't need that, but we want it, so if it's
Correct.
not in there, that would be the only reason to include it.
Yep.
okay,
And if we need it, we don't need it under this policy, we can move it over to the bid policy, correct?
That's what I'm
Yes,
thinking,
yes.
the most we're gonna
Yeah,
take
yeah.
out of this is this
Is
little
that
piece.
and put it in there.
Everything else is out, right?
Right.
Yep.
okay.
And another important thing that I can see is as far as these things that overlap, like road, where it says the road committee, what happens is then let's say we update all of our committees. This doesn't end up getting updated because we don't
Exactly.
know
Right,
it's
and
in
then they're
this.
moving away from each other
Yeah,
again.
yeah, and that's.
This
which
last
ones-
paragraph, the town manager has the authority granted by the select board to approve the necessary personnel and equipment. Isn't that, again, isn't it just like
We just said it'll be.
run the
Right.
town?
Well, we
please?
just said the road commissioner had that, and then the town manager also has.
Correct. I would, if you could, Bridie, if you could read 23 MRSA
Yep.
2701.
I know I have it here. in
No,
one of
that's,
these.
no, it's fine, but if you
I
just
will.
read that piece and let us know that
Yeah.
that verbiage is
They're all
there.
together, cause this one here's referenced in 03, so.
Yeah,
3201, I mean, so it's all,
Yeah,
I'm
I,
very confident it's all in the roads manual, but if you
Yeah.
could validate
I'm
that,
sure it is, I mean, cause I've read them all and they, it's like, okay, you just
And then
said,
we're gonna boil this down to one
very
piece of paper.
succinct.
okay.
That's not all over the
but that's,
place.
I really didn't think a lot about what you just said, that's.
That's what happens.
It
Yeah.
is exactly what
You know,
happens.
you overlap, and then we change something here, and then this
That's
gets
what's the
They're
matter
so
with
old.
all those ordinances.
Yep.
They're all like branches.
Right. They have to be, and even if it's just 3 sentences or whatever, that's what that is. And then if we wanna change it, great, it's
Yep.
changed here, but it doesn't flow into all the other ones.
We need to make our ordinance, then a title page, or your index page.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you can clearly find
Yeah.
everything.
And it's very simple.
And if you wanna change culverts, you change it in one place.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right. And that's right. Very simple.
Okay, so we
These just sort
reviewed,
of grew, I think, you know what I mean?
It's like when you
I
cut
think-
brush, it comes back five times
Yeah.
better.
No, but I
They
think
didn't use
honestly,
Roundup on this
what it
stuff.
is not everybody's ever had, I've never seen this list of
No.
everything together.
I know.
So
when
it's
you
very
see that-
easy to say, oh, I need this policy.
Policy, yeah.
Correct.
I don't understand, you
Oh, we
already
gotta
had
add to this
something.
policy.
I second it. We vote, another policy.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's exactly what happens.
yeah.
Policy
So we'll just
2.0.
start pairing
Okay.
policies and just making them really straightforward and succinct.
would you like to
Right?
do the culverts before
Sure.
the
That looks-
smoking, because
Sure.
it's
Sure.
still
Yeah.
kind of road. I think what I wound up doing is only changing the length of the
Yep,
culvert.
30 feet.
I think that was all I changed.
Did we arrive at 30 feet because Seth thought that was a number, or,
Mhm.
okay.
They got to thinking that 20 was too short
Mm-hmm.
in some cases, and,
Yep.
and I was going to add that, something about the culvert material, but it was already in 2. Only culverts made of materials approved by the road commissioner will be acceptable, so
Right.
it's already there.
And didn't this one say there's, someone where I was reading no concrete? Did that, or I guess you don't even need to say that. The road commissioner will tell you what.
Is there a scenario where you'd ever want to allow a culvert of less than 30 feet? Or at least give someone the discretion to allow it? Let's say it's not for a
Yeah.
home. Let's say maybe you got a
Just to-
field that you hay once a year, and you're gonna put a road in there. You're gonna put a driveway access. So you call the town and say, hey, there's a ditch here, I'm gonna have to put a culvert in. And Seth goes over and says, these guys don't need 30 feet.
So you just make the length and the diameter to be approved by the road commissioner. and
The only
you-
reason why, well, and one side of me doesn't like having a minimum diameter in there.
Okay.
Because
Same argument, really. I mean, he might say.
But there is no minimum
there is no
diameter.
there is no minimum
Right,
diameter.
right.
But I can already show you instances that in this town that we've got some 3-inch culverts.
Oh, you mean just.
Right,
sub-
but that wasn't,
too-
I bet you there was no, I
Yes,
would
it
like
was-
to think
it
that
was
the
approved.
road commissioner would
They were
approve that.
signed off on.
Oh, right,
But that's another problem.
right.
I understand that.
I mean, somebody's gonna
So
put a
you-
drinking straw down there, and
Yeah,
the road
they
commissioner
can.
signs off, you have
It's
to make
close.
some changes.
It's a driveway.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay,
my
yeah, so anybody who signed off on that really didn't
Should
do an excellent
Be
job.
fired.
Okay,
Didn't know what they're doing.
But if, you don't really need policies if we didn't have these instances either. So that's the point of the policy, is to help prevent some of this stuff.
Right.
So I've heard that 12 is the minimum, but that 15 is much better, I don't know.
I would honestly, we're not gonna buy a culvert less than 12 inches.
Right.
A legitimate culvert is 12 inches. I personally don't see why it shouldn't say with a minimum of 12, and still specify the road
Can be
commissioner
approved.
Yeah,
discretion, but.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah, let's do
I like
that.
that.
Yeah, I like
We've got
that
a
too.
minimum
Yeah.
feet, we've got a minimum diameter, any exceptions would
Have-
have to be approved by the
Right.
road commissioner.
Right.
So
Yep.
it gives them the latitude, if it's a hayfield that they're in there once a year and he can get away with a 6-inch one, 12 feet,
Right,
he could do it,
right,
but that's gonna be his call. I like that.
I do.
all right, so instead of diameter will be based on depth of available amount of watershed in the area and should be as large as possible, we'll just say, leave to the discretion of,
Yeah, or any exception to that.
Any
What's,
exception.
do you know, what would like 30-foot, 12-inch culvert
Well,
cost?
Oh, I don't know.
But
That
the
I
only,
don't know.
the only thing when you get into this too, it all depends on where you get, if you come out by my house where the ditches is really shallow and then fields and you put a 12-inch culvert in there,
It's too big, right?
it would work, a 12-inch would work there, but what I'm saying is where you're not down that deep, a 20-foot culvert, you could drive in and out slick. But if you go to another situation where, you got a culvert, you're that deep, and like Seth was saying, with the transition, you need 30 feet to get a vehicle in there.
But that would be Seth's call.
That's right.
Correct, but when you start saying minimum of, it kinda limits him to not be able to go less than that.
No, we're gonna say any exceptions would require the approval
Okay.
of,
Road commissioner.
could be at the
so if
discretion
it, like I
of-
said, if it's a little hayfield and,
Yep.
yeah, that's fine, go ahead and do that. And so he'd have to sign off on it. It's gonna be rare.
Yeah,
So I would say a minimum of 30 feet in length with a minimum diameter of 12 inches. And then after that, it's at however you want to verbiage for the road commissioner's discretion. Because you,
Yeah,
like I
any
said,
exception would require the approval of the road
Right.
commissioner.
because we already have a lot of, I can see a lot of instances where he's gonna, people are gonna say, I only want a 6.
Yeah. and-
He's got this, he
Yeah.
said, nope, you gotta at least have a
These are the
12.
minimums.
Yep,
Well, you can't make me, actually, I
I
can.
Yeah.
can, actually I can.
and
Yeah,
that just,
then he
it makes
has
it easier for him
Yep.
by at least putting the 12 inch
Yeah.
Yep,
is my,
that's good. I like that.
And honestly, if my road commissioner came to us and said, listen, I don't even want the option to provide an exception because I would be open to that discussion.
sure.
I just feeling like if we've got a resident that has a little field and he wants to be able to get his camper in there for the winter, and he can get away with a $200 culvert instead of a $600 culvert, we ought to try to accommodate him, but, that would be up to the road commissioner.
Sure.
So,
all right, so that one, so we're moving on to, I'll do that edit, we're moving on to the smoking.
These are going better quicker than.
Yeah, so is this the outdoor recreational facilities tobacco-free ordinance?
Yes.
hey,
there-
a town in California today voted to all tobacco sales, gone.
Really?
Yep, they're gonna give them till 21, but I think it's the first one in the country to do it.
So it's a tobacco-free,
Town.
County?
Well,
Oh,
no
town.
sales, they're not gonna
Oh.
prohibit you from owning
oh,
it,
you
but
just can't
no one's
buy
gonna
it?
be able to sell it.
Wow, amazing. Wow, I didn't hear that.
Okay, we didn't know last time whether we needed an ordinance, a policy. I found out that there was something called a resolution as well.
Oh geez.
Any of the above will suffice for, I was talking with Roxanne Dubé from which agency?
MMA? Oh,
No, she's a government, but they do free signs.
oh.
But they need a resolution, a policy, or an ordinance. And I couldn't find out what the difference between a resolution and a policy was, so I asked her. And she says the resolution does not need an enforcement statement. The policy requires, at minimum, a general enforcement statement. An example would be, everyone is required to comply with the town of Sangerville's smoke and tobacco-free policy. The goal is to achieve voluntary compliance by educating employees, citizens, and visitors. Enforcement is viewed as a shared responsibility of all those in the Sangerville community.
Oh, so basically,
So-
hey, you're not allowed to smoke here.
Yeah,
Wow.
That is,
you know,
Wow.
it's public, so I changed
That's
the
great.
policy I sent you,
and that qualifies us for the signs.
right.
Ah, bingo.
So I
That's
took
great.
out, I had ordinance, I didn't change it on yours, but it's policy. So, it's to protect, preserve the health, safety, and quality of the life of the youth and adults in the park. Its goal is to decrease exposure of individuals and children in particular to secondhand smoke.
Nice.
Then definition of smoking, and they wish that we would go even further. I mean, there is a list of smoking things and tobacco
Yeah,
that is a mile long. They specifically would
Oh,
like,
the vaping,
like the
yeah, yeah.
electronic
But that falls
smoking.
under electronic, I don't understand why you need to
yeah.
get in all the technical end of it.
Yeah, so I,
yeah, I see, you're right.
So this-
What about
most of this is,
non-smoking tobacco use? We don't care about that.
I
You,
think
oh,
that's worse than smoking.
they,
myself,
they
but-
chew, like, what, the stuff you stick
is
in
it
your
in
mouth?
this one,
Spit all over.
Oh,
inhaling,
that's disgusting. That's gross.
smoking means.
Yeah, we don't want somebody doing that.
Yeah, see, this is all about being lighted,
That's the difference between a smoking policy and a tobacco-free.
Oh,
so we could add,
no chewing product. Oh,
Yep,
no, I
we
guess.
get-
You could just add that under the description, I mean.
yeah,
Now, of course, me being a refrain,
Oh,
I honestly was thinking about if we're gonna, especially with the verbiage that you now have, which I really like, about stepping this up to the next and just doing it on municipal property, period. Whether it's here or up there or anywhere. And then that would just cover us. And with your verbiage, that's even better. I mean, so like, the policy is written to protect and preserve the health and safety and quality of life of all that access any property owned by the town of Sangerville.
yeah.
Its goal is to eliminate the exposure of individuals to secondhand smoke in their outdoor environment. But I just,
Well,
Because
just
we
playing
have-
devil's advocate, not to be a pain, but, so you're out there, having a picnic on one of those 600 acres that we own, and you can't smoke your pipe sitting underneath the apple tree?
We have an employee who takes smoke breaks.
yep, and if you go to most businesses now that take smoke breaks, you go to the edge of the road and stand off the property.
I
Is
know.
that what- But those are the questions,
That's
do
the
you
way
want
a
right,
lot
no,
us
that's,
to
Oh,
do
I know.
that's a
that?
valid question. I mean, that, you gotta.
Do you want-
I
I
think
know-
the park is really, my biggest concern is this recreation area.
Personnel say something about
The
you
smoking issue.
can't be near the entryways.
Certain number of feet from an entryway would be
I-
something that you could
Don't-
Doesn't this
implement.
group over here does smoke on the, smoke
Right on
on
the steps.
the, around the
Yeah,
steps?
yeah.
Yep, then people
Right?
complain about that
Yeah.
every year, time we have town meeting.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have contractors that are up and around the garage, and we've had issues up there with people smoking. That's kinda why I did this, cause I know we get.
Well, I know-
complaints.
I know at the
Could a
mill-
person even mow the field
Oh,
and smoke at the
and
same
having
time?
their
The-
smokes,
Or
yeah,
the
no.
cemetery? Could you visit a grave in the cemetery and smoke while you're there? Those are the quite,
Yeah, that's
When
true.
you're at the cemetery visiting one of your loved ones, do you wanna smell somebody else's smoke? It's no different than
the question
if
is,
you don't want to.
I wonder how many cemeteries in the state are smoke free?
Well, I'm looking at policies, so I'll
That
I'll
will
let
be
you know.
interesting to know, right, and, you know, for example, you're getting into your boat and you're launching, at what point can you light your cigarette? Is it when you shove off the dock, right?
Yeah,
You know,
It's
we
not
own a
important.
lot of land.
yeah.
Do you want people in our woods smoking? I mean, you get kids up there smoking and got it on fire?
Well, that's.
Yeah.
That's a totally other side of
If
it.
a guy wants to sit on a rock wall up there and smoke his pipe, I think it's still America. That's not something I do, but
Well, you just brought up a town that's, you can't even buy it there.
I understand. That's not a town I wanna live in. No, I'm not saying we
Yeah,
don't have
no,
the
no.
right to do it. I'm wondering
Yeah.
if we just,
How
There is no
Well,
stringent do we wanna be?
the only enforcement is gonna be,
There is-
heckling, embarrassment. I mean, that's basically what we've
And that's
said.
what, yeah, that's what Bridie's.
Okay, and this resolution is more about the whereases, and, we find, whereas the town of Sangerville, has
Oh.
set a goal to be a safe, healthy place to live and work, and whereas tobacco use is the single most preventable cause of death and disease in the United States, as well as in the state of Maine, whereas secondhand smoke contains thousands of harmful chemicals.
Oh my gosh.
Whereas chewing tobacco contains many harmful chemicals,
Yeah,
including,
they go to that
Oh,
extreme.
no,
whereas
no.
tobacco use in and around the
No.
recreational properties sends contradictory messages to
I
young
mean,
people
it's all good stuff, but,
who are, and then, let's see,
But I
we're not
think you're
through
not
yet.
required to do that.
No, this is a sample resolution, so you could cut out
All of
Oh,
almost all
it.
whereas.
You could use where you.
Whereas
You could use
Yeah.
Not
yours,
good for you.
yeah.
you can have yours, and then is the short verbiage of enforcement.
Is not available.
There's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with what you have written.
Nope. And all I did was take her words and put it in.
That's what I'm saying.
With the
Yeah.
exception of the rec field or the park,
Yep,
have you had any complaints? Has anyone come in here and said, gee, I wish people didn't smoke in our parking lot?
Nope.
Or,
no, our employee is careful to go over here between the buildings or out over there. In fact, she's offered to weed the planter for me
well,
while.
something to do, right?
The only time I've ever heard a complaint is town meeting,
Yep,
Uh-huh.
in and out, I hear a lot of complaints then. And I've heard complaints, which we already have it in a policy, about town equipment. And,
Oh, smoking in
Right,
a
yeah.
vehicle, okay. I
and
gotcha.
smoking
Yep.
around the area when there's stuff going on. I have heard that, cause there's not really a designated spot, it's like everywhere up there. So those are the only two things that I know, but we no longer have a town employee, so that should eliminate, because you do have it in the,
I suppose we've got one vehicle left, right? If a contractor or someone, I guess we would say to them, don't ever smoke in our town vehicle as long as we
we
have.
have that as a policy now.
Yeah, but I mean, the contractor might not know that. So
Right,
if that's a concern, we,
You gotta let them, you gotta let them know, or
The
put a sign
loader is the big
in.
one,
you
just
could
'cause
even put a
Yes,
sign in
signs
the
in the
vehicle,
cab,
yeah.
it's a small
Yeah.
space inside that loader, so.
Yeah,
that's
that,
the-
we should make little placards, you know, even just, or
You wanna-
whatever.
designate a smoking spot.
We can worry about that later, that's not what
Okay.
you're doing here.
No,
I guess
So
my,
we'll do this
my
correct.
feeling is on this, I fully support the park being smoke-free.
Yeah,
I have no qualms about it at all. Getting beyond that, I start to wonder if we really even have a problem. So,
Town meeting's the only time. If you can figure out how to fix that, and people don't, I don't care.
and you know, no
Okay.
one's, I mean, you may have had a complaint, but no one's ever come to us and said, listen,
No.
town meeting's coming up, could we please
Nope.
get some relief from the smoke? No one's ever said that.
I just hear people coming in and out,
yeah,
before and after the meeting, you hear people complain.
Oh, yeah, but it's just a fact of life kind of thing. I'm not, again, if people wanted it changed, I'd be open to it. I just, when we start saying all land that we own, I don't think that,
well, here on this resolution, the actual resolution, which is about this long.
wow.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Sangerville does hereby declare that its recreational area properties as tobacco-free 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and restricts the use of any tobacco product, including but not limited to cigarettes, cigars, electronic smoking devices, and chewing tobacco on, in, or at any athletic facility, playground, or assembly area operated by Sangerville.
well,
That's-
I don't have a problem with that.
That's good,
That would cover it.
yes.
As long as that's not deemed as the rec field. So you can't have the.
Or
verbiage.
assembly area.
Yeah, I
Correct.
like that, because then, you know, if one person is hiking, it's not an assembled.
Correct. Well, in
But-
fact,
but-
if one
Town-
fireman is out there having a cigarette and there's
That's
no
no big deal.
assembly,
Right.
that's not a
It
problem.
doesn't matter.
Right.
It's only an issue when it's,
Right,
Right,
right.
when it's
That's
town
great.
meeting
I
day.
like that, I like
Okay.
that.
Yep.
So we like,
You know, or let's say there was
you just have to change the name.
oh, yeah. You know, a group of people that were hiking on one of our forests, okay, then no, it's an assembled group. No, nobody can smoke.
What about marijuana?
It needs to be verbiage. If we want it in there, it needs to be in there.
Marijuana should
I
be
think
included.
Nothing
it
in
said, didn't it say? Yeah, weed.
legally,
weed.
you,
Well,
Weed.
weed really shouldn't be in there.
Does it say weed?
Yeah.
well, and I took that language off from
It
the
should-
state
It should
website.
say, if you wanna talk about marijuana, it really should say marijuana.
Marijuana.
Yeah, I would agree with you on
Okay,
that.
so I could take the resolution part and replace section 2 in the policy with it. instead of saying no, now therefore let it be resolved, just say the town of Sangerville does hereby declare that its recreational area properties are tobacco-free.
Correct.
And then if you want, I can list marijuana.
Instead of weed.
Maybe it should be smoke/tobacco, smoke-free and tobacco-free.
Yep,
That will, because, I don't know if you're gonna get into marijuana edibles, I mean, that, you're not gonna know.
No clue.
So, I mean, I guess,
But my only thing is the piece that you read that would cover here as far as an assembled area, that's not gonna work when you have a policy that's clearly defining the memorial park.
No.
well, I can
That's
change,
not-
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll call it municipal
Okay.
facilities tobacco-free.
yeah, and then with the
And
description.
tobacco-free would mean chew as well, I mean, because,
Sure.
and, so I'll just,
Yeah, smoke and tobacco-free.
yep, we'll just,
Not to, but as far as the rec field and when there's a concert, I mean, do people, do
Oh, yeah,
they
you
ever
don't-
serve alcohol?
no.
No?
No, didn't that come up last year? Somebody
Well,
wanted to do a wedding or something?
we do need to talk about that, because I keep getting this one woman requesting, she wants to use the gazebo. And so,
For something that,
kid's birthday party,
Oh.
something,
Sure.
right, but if it were a wedding reception, you may end up with,
that's a whole different ballgame, perhaps, I mean, there's a
But
lot of issues there.
I don't think you can drink there. There's no, you need a
you
liquor
can't,
license.
right, you
You're
can't drink
outside.
outside.
Yes.
You're
Yeah, okay,
That's just
okay,
public
that's what we're
drinking.
covering,
You're not
right.
selling it. You're
No, I
renting.
mean, I don't think we can
Right.
authorize a person to bring,
Publicly,
bring
Okay.
beer, yeah, go ahead, do what you want, I don't think we can do that.
open containers
So either-
law would,
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so we don't need to say that this is a tobacco slash marijuana slash alcohol free ordinance.
No, I think the alcohol's
Drug.
already.
I think
Free
alcohol is
ordinance.
forbidden.
Okay,
I
okay.
think I don't
Yeah.
think you can
That's
drink
its
in
own-
public in Maine, on a
Okay.
public, in a park or something like that.
Okay.
Not saying it isn't done.
Right,
You can put it around every bag.
and drugs
Yeah.
obviously
It's
are
done.
illegal.
Right, but
So you-
marijuana isn't going to be here
Right,
shortly,
right.
so.
but it's illegal to publicly,
Well,
Isn't
once
it?
it's recreational, I think you're gonna be able to smoke wherever you want.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do about it.
okay, we'll just put it in there, 'cause.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll merge those two.
We're making some headway.
Merge. Okay, so
Good.
we've kind of talked about the traffic ordinance, we need maybe a workshop or something
Yep.
to do
I don't
that.
mind workshops, but just so you know, I don't like workshops because the only difference between a workshop and a meeting is we can't make a decision.
Kitchen.
Oh,
You get to the end and go,
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
let's wait and finish that.
yeah.
Right, that's true.
And what
just
I would do
assume-
with these is, when you've got what you think is your final version,
Send
send
them
them
to
to
us.
us, we'll tweak them
Yeah,
back to
and
you,
back
so
to
that
you.
when we arrive again,
We're ready to
we're
go.
voting.
Right,
Sounds
right.
like a plan to
And
me.
when we tweak them, we'll CC.
Yep, everybody will see
reply all.
them, and we'll end up with
Reply all.
what is roughly a final product.
Right,
and vote
that
on
sounds
it.
good, I like that.
And we can kinda do the same thing with this, I didn't dive into the parking ordinance again, because we had so much, I knew we
Yeah.
weren't. But, if we all wanna get a fresh copy of that before we schedule a workshop,
It's on the internet, I mean, is it the one that's?
Well,
I
on the-
believe
Yeah.
it's the one that's on the
Oh,
It's on the internet, but it's not what we worked on.
it's the 14 one?
I can find, I can find things, like this
Yep.
Elton thing's not in there. I mean, there's a lot of pieces that's not in there that I know we worked on.
Did I
Okay.
send you the traffic ordinance? I thought I sent it with all of those pieces.
If you did, I'll open it up, I
Okay.
didn't open all those, so.
Okay, cause, I think it's in there, and let me know which
Is, right.
one
as
you
far
think
as-
it is.
Well, there's a
Honestly,
marker, something to look for is, we specifically addressed cell phone stipends for the town manager
Mm-hmm.
and the chief, the fire chief.
I think
And-
the verbiage is just town employees, or in general, I don't think.
Well, we asked her to update it, because those are the only two positions that would get a stipend.
Yep.
And so if you find one that has that, you have the most current.
Right,
Okay,
And if it doesn't have that,
that's personnel,
that's under the personnel
Personnel one,
policy,
yep.
yep.
okay. all right, I'll look.
Cause it does seem like what we worked on,
Didn't
Didn't
end
get
up getting
through to the end.
memorialized, right.
Okay,
That's not.
didn't we sign it though?
I think so, yeah, we did.
I think I've seen a copy of it.
Okay, alright, well, cause yours said
It's
14, so,
and
yeah.
I've seen a copy of it. Perhaps it was like stuck in the front of one of the books somewhere, and I probably didn't. So
Okay.
I will do that. The other thing is, this thing is called Policies Governing the Use of Sangerville Community Centers.
Oh,
It's under facility use on my computer. I don't know if you guys,
where is
That
it
was-
now?
this
Oh,
is,
okay,
it's
That
not,
was
this is
used
not
for
really a
upstairs.
policy. This is we wanna use well, it is a policy. We wanna use
do we
use
have that,
gazebo.
do we have
Did I
that?
not give it to you?
Oh, wait, I got one piece more, oh, no,
I don't see that one.
Maybe I have,
no.
I have all the copies here, so I
That
guess you
makes
wouldn't.
total sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Whoops, and that's the back page on the last.
So this is, the use of
Of the
facility?
gazebo, yeah,
Ah.
and I've got a woman who keeps calling me, and the first time I didn't let her use it because it was prom and they had it all
Oh.
decorated and people were taking pictures. The second time was Memorial Weekend. I tried to get back to her and she wouldn't answer her phone, so she didn't get it Memorial Weekend either. But I'd really like to say, no using the gazebo till we get a policy
Right.
in place. You
Right.
know, or figure out things like, are we insured on, which I think,
Right,
I think under a recreational facility,
We're
we're
insured.
covered.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, I mean, what is she, in your example, what does she wanna use it for?
she wanted a birthday party, well, at least the first time she told me she wanted a birthday.
I mean, I don't know what happens if a whole bunch of people pull up in a car and gazebo's empty, and they go and have a birthday party.
Ain't nothing you're gonna do about it.
Right,
right,
I mean, isn't that what it's for?
Yep, it's
Right.
exactly what it's for.
Right.
You don't need permission for
It's not
that.
So, I mean, I got a list of Pirate Rec games and I got a list of the concerts, cause those are the things I know are scheduled there. But other than that, I think you let Grace Bible use it last year, they had a vacation Bible kind of.
I think that did happen.
So I don't
It's
know
the only
if they're-
scheduled events that I know. Other than
and after
it's
that,
free
it's
reign.
like first come, first served.
Well,
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
It's no different than prom. There's nobody saying that you can go take a prom picture there.
Okay, so do I need a park policy that says,
First come, first served.
first come, first served, no littering,
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
bring in, take out?
yeah.
I mean, originally they were talking about, they thought you were gonna be able to rent this out, and I just don't see how
Right.
you're gonna enforce it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, I would need to take a deposit and then I would need to truck myself down there and look
And
and
make
see.
sure-
And make sure that you picked everything up and you know, and,
that's,
I wanted
Which,
it 9 in the
we
morning.
wanna
Mike
get in
wants
the
it at
rental
noon,
business, but
yeah.
Jody
but-
wants it in the afternoon, so you're gonna go 3
oh,
times a
boy,
day on a
oh,
weekend.
boy. Yeah,
No.
and then
And
what
who's
if they
gonna
run
clean it
over,
and-
and then you've
Yeah.
got people say, well, I'm
well,
scheduled for
you
10
build
o'clock.
that into all your costs, but do you even wanna get into
No,
that
no,
business?
no,
I mean, the state does this now for, campsites at Baxter State Park, you gotta get on the phone at
No.
midnight or you're not staying.
yeah,
Baxter's book.
And they've got an army of people that are
Yeah.
enforcing all this, but it's like running a hotel.
well,
Yeah.
even reservations to hike.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You gotta have,
that's right,
which is amazing.
they have to know how many people are in the park at any given time. and,
right.
So we're not going to do this then?
I don't know, what are your,
What I would like to really make sure
I don't
of,
think so.
Mm-hmm.
I fully agree with Mike, I think that we're covered under a recreational area. or
But
special
call-
Just check
liability.
on that,
But where it is a
confirm that.
gazebo,
true,
it's
It's a
kind of a
structure.
structure. Does
Yeah.
that still apply, so we're all set as far as liability?
right,
Okay,
yeah, I gotta believe it, the very worst, we might say a sign that says use at your own risk. I think we're covered because it's in our park.
yeah,
But either way, if we don't have a policy, and we don't say you're renting it,
yeah.
and it's,
I wonder whether Dover, Dover, I read at the Y there, they have
they
a,
charge.
They rent,
oh, they do, so they must have a policy for that, cause
But
that's a
there's-
pretty big,
yeah.
But there's no enforcement. If we showed up tonight with a barbecue grill and started
Right.
cooking burgers in there,
right,
there's nobody coming around saying.
no,
Yeah.
no,
I
no,
mean, it's kind of an honor system,
mm-mm,
I mean, and it's only for in the gazebo. I
Right.
mean, I've been to many things that use the benches and the grills and stuff along the waterway,
Yeah, and then they
and
don't.
there's no charge over there.
yeah, okay.
So it's
Okay.
kind of a,
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just
And we want
wondering,
people to use the park, I mean, isn't that?
Sure,
You can
sure,
put it
oh,
there
yeah,
for-
absolutely, that's it,
Yeah.
But it's interesting, you know, if you're over there playing tennis and the tennis coach comes up and says, okay, you guys
Right,
out of
we
here.
got a game. We got,
Everybody just kinda complies, but I'm really not sure that, I mean, can he call the sheriff and clear the, I don't know.
I don't know,
I'm glad we don't have to deal with it,
It's
but,
town.
No, we have had that situation because the years past, they used to keep the dugouts locked.
Yeah,
And there
Oh.
was residents that was mad because I wanted to have my kid's birthday party down there this weekend and play T-ball or.
sure,
play a
and why
family
couldn't he?
game. And they would not, I don't know if those are locked now or not on the weekends,
don't know.
but I know that has been a, you know,
sure.
Again, it's kinda one of those things, I think that if it starts to become a problem, then we're gonna have to have some structure, but, I mean, until, you can imagine, he's got a tournament and somebody's playing flag football out there and
Yeah, yeah, but,
15 guys say, well, we're not leaving, we just got
yeah,
in.
we're having our, you know.
This is our class reunion.
Yeah, fraternity reunion, we landed in Maine in
but
Sangerville, yeah.
there's no lease, there's no agreement binding anybody to that, it's all public,
Yes, they
Yeah.
have as much right there as anybody.
right?
You know, and they said, that I met with the rec committee last night, and they said, well, we want people to use the field. I'm going, you want people to be out there running around on your brand new field? I'm like, okay. You know, they're trying to keep people from driving on their field, but they don't mind people using their field. I'm going, well,
But.
So-
yeah.
so I would
It's
imagine-
It's everybody.
It's a park.
Right, if
Yeah.
somebody calls and wants to use it, I would you have the dates when it's,
Yeah.
and you can say, well, I know it's booked on these days.
Yeah.
So, you know, be aware of that, right?
basically
Do-
Pirate Rec does not use the gazebo.
Right.
The concerts, I have a list of concerts, there are 4 of them scheduled. That's the only thing I know of.
You know, I wonder whether on our website, we could just have something about the gazebo, the dates then that it's being used by concerts and things like that, and then just basic guidelines. If you do use
First come, first
our
served.
Yeah.
gazebo, or all of our gazebo, you know, it's first come, first serve. You know, be respectful of the people who are there. You know, we can set up a little bit of a guidelines, right?
I wouldn't
Courtesy.
even word it the gazebo, I would just verbiage the park in general, I mean, if, whether it be, you want the same respect for the
Right.
backfield as the
True.
front field as the gazebo.
True.
You know, please,
Right.
if you leave, don't leave things behind, clean up after yourself.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
park.
So maybe that way, and then when somebody calls to you and they say, oh, I'm calling because I wanna use a gazebo, get on our website and just look at the dates that it's booked and,
Yep.
I think whenever
Enjoy.
possible, you're gonna wanna default to first come, first serve.
Yep, yep,
Because
yep.
you don't wanna be the enforcement.
no,
Right.
no.
If you say to the lady, oh, no, you're fine, you can
Yeah,
have Amy's
right.
party,
Yeah.
and then she says, I'm over here right now, and this gazebo is another party, like, well,
That's right.
sorry.
That's right.
Right, I mean, you could list off the Pirate Rec events, what they have for games and stuff scheduled, and list off the community.
But have them check the website, so
Yeah.
you don't have to sit there and say, well, on July 2nd, there's this, and then,
Yeah.
you know, just check the website. If it's not, if you don't see anything or whatever, you know, planned for the gazebo, then it's first come, first serve. Have fun, enjoy yourself,
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
right?
kind of what they, you know, the rec committee was talking about things like, well, they had the prom pictures, so obviously that would go on the list, or they had a sleigh ride Christmas, sit on Santa's lap thing last year.
But
Those
you
kind
could
of
call that
things.
slated community events.
Right.
Yeah, put those-
Which is
Do we
concerts,
wanna-
sleigh,
Yes.
and-
Do we wanna cross that line, though, from first come, first serve to charging and locking it
No,
up? Okay.
no, I don't think
So
so.
like, nobody could plan a wedding there, because
Yeah,
you didn't know for sure.
We're not an event
Right,
Right.
center.
If you wanna
I
flip the
have no
coin, it's
problem with it.
available,
Yeah,
you're
right,
more than
right.
welcome to use
Right.
it.
Yeah,
If
if you're driving by and,
That's right.
Yeah, no, I.
maybe some people at your wedding you don't know.
But I do like the idea of listing out the actual schedule.
Yeah, because then,
Community events, so everybody knows that I don't wanna go with the first come, first serve, and then we got a concert that night, and you're down there having a reception. Well, the community is
we're
scheduled.
having a concert, you know,
Correct.
and the band's showing up for our concert and they've got a full-fledged barbecue going on.
Correct.
You know, what, are you gonna move them out? So I think we know those dates, you know, whatever those, all of those, that we need to clearly publish them. And then all you need to, because all you need to do is refer them to the website and say, yeah, you know, it's first come, first served, but we do have scheduled events there
Yeah.
that you're going to want to know about or
Yeah.
avoid or
Yeah.
attend.
I think the original thought process was potential income revenue,
Yeah,
but
Right.
your cost is far exceeds.
yeah,
You'd have to make it, for it to be worthwhile, you'd have to make it so expensive nobody would do it.
right.
Right.
Because it's just not worth the hassle.
Yeah, it's just not big enough really for any substantial
No, it's not.
gathering, right?
Yeah.
So.
Unless you spill out onto that nice sports field.
Yeah, there you go.
But the only good part about, and even if you didn't charge, you had a list of who's gonna, if you could figure out a way, just because of if you knew you was gonna use it, and there was damage, or it was left, you would have something to fall back on. But I don't know if, does that really, it's still
Yeah,
cluttering,
but-
I mean, trying to get that all to work without costing the
No,
town
and then,
money to
you know, if I
enforce
think,
it.
oh geez, you know, maybe, I have friends coming, geez, I'm gonna just put, you know, drop my name in there, and then nobody shows up, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
No, it's,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
and, you know, if we don't have a good if people don't respect it, then it ends up getting, no one can use it, right?
Well, you'd be hard pressed to shut the park down.
Right.
It's, again, it maybe, we'll see if we have a problem. I think the example you gave, I would just say to that lady, it's first come, first serve, and I'm
Yep.
sure I hope you guys have fun.
Yep,
And that way, even with like Vacation Bible School, I could put that on the website. And
that's right,
That's a
that's right,
community-
Yep.
Event.
That's right.
and-
Yep.
Yep,
yep.
Community approved event.
And then people, and then it does give advertisement to the things that we are putting on at
Correct.
and the games and things as well.
Because like that, I think that's important, I mean, they reached the, can we use it these dates, yes, so I would want that listed, so.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
it's theirs, but it's still a community event.
right. And so, like Pirate Rec now monopolizes the field, but if another group of some sort wanted to use a field and they weren't using it, then obviously,
Exactly.
you know.
That's right,
Correct.
alright. Yep,
Okay,
I think that's good, I do.
I think the only time we really need to get into this is if, which has not happened, if there was ever any interest in renting the upstairs again. Then maybe you need to look at something.
Oh, yeah, that's like, yeah,
That's, I mean, there used to be a yeah, I know.
there is
used-
one, I saw it in the computer somewhere.
Correct. There is a policy, there is something there for renting that. yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I think it covered both buildings,
Oh,
because they
yeah,
used to
might.
rent out over there too sometimes.
really?
Yeah. So
Might
that's
have,
what
yeah.
how that originally started.
We are really plowing through this now.
So, we're not gonna have a
I
policy,
think
first
keeping
come,
things
first served
simple is
policy.
really, you know what I mean?
You know, I think as
Right.
time goes by, maybe there'll be something we need to do, but
Yep.
Right.
No, no, I feel
you
better
event
because-
planning,
Yeah,
that's,
I-
you really
I
don't wanna
don't
be an
wanna- I
event
don't.
planner.
No, no.
Bad enough being the complaint department, the event,
Yeah, right. The head of the complaint department.
actually, it's not that bad.
Alright, is that enough policies for tonight?
Cemeteries, we're not doing a policy because
Okay.
I haven't written one.
Okay.
However, we have some issues and I'd like to see if we could get a committee together
Oh.
for cemeteries, because here's some of the issues. The ones that I'm taking care of in the office are all paperwork in terms of, the sexton comes in and says, well, you know, who's buried here? The records aren't that accurate. And, you know, if you buy a plot, which is 4 lots, sometimes it's not recorded who's buried where in the plot.
Oh.
So it makes his job difficult, cause he has to go out and sound.
Which one's the empty lot?
Which one's empty?
Oh, boy.
Is there
Or
one
which
empty?
two are empty?
Or he gets out there and, oh, there are 4 names, when we only told him there were 2 people
Oh, my.
buried there, you know, so
Yeah.
some record
Yeah, a
keeping
little bit, yeah.
issues are, I want to deal with there, but in terms of policy, things like, setting up, how many people can be buried in a plot? How many cremations can you have? You know, obviously, 1 lot is 1 full burial, but is it 3 cremations, is it 4, is it, how are things laid out? When you can start burying people and what season you stop. You basically leave that up to your sexton, but you need a policy that gives him.
We have no policy.
We have one little policy for the new section of the village, and it was a policy on how you sold the lots and how they were set up, and, you know, somewhere along the line, somebody stopped following it.
Following that policy. Huh.
There's
And
some,
that's
I just think we need to know which cemeteries, I think all of them except Gilman have a few open lots.
Yeah, even the one below me, they recently, last year, they had
Yeah,
it.
I saw, so.
And I thought that thing was kaput.
I think there may be 1 or 2, and those are something you'd need the sexton and or a committee to go out and look at. You're not paying your sexton, so I'm not sure he wants to survey it, but,
Committee's a really good idea.
but if you do a
Yeah, I
committee,
do-
you
I
can,
do
you can
too.
give them a
Not only
tape
that, I
and
think
lay them
there's
out.
there are folks who are really interested in,
Yeah.
and
And
dedicated to
really care about
that. So
that.
I wouldn't be surprised if you get,
And Jim
Yeah.
doesn't have the time, I'm not sure he's gonna be sexton again because he didn't take into, account the fact that it's his busy season mowing,
Oh,
and it's his busy
they
season.
kinda coincide.
They
Yeah.
coincide, and so then, I don't know, he may not.
The other
There's
thing,
issues
I
there.
don't even know if this ties into it, but we started a little bit on this perpetual care account. and
I'm trying to
yeah.
figure it out,
It's,
yes.
so there's
Yeah, the
definitely, and
committee
we've got
could
the
work
erosion
on-
issue,
yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah,
cemetery
yeah, yeah.
issues.
Yeah,
So,
but
so a
yes,
committee I think would be good.
yes.
committee would be nice, you know, this week I haven't been out to the cemetery, but the last 2 or 3 weeks I spent
Wow,
a couple of afternoons in the cemetery, you're just helping him figure things
wow.
out
Yeah.
because things aren't laid out well, things
Yep.
aren't. So
I think
that's,
that's a great
that's,
idea, I really do.
Need a motion for us to start a committee? You also
yes,
just
please.
start-
Just,
Make a motion to start a cemetery committee to try to resolve some of these issues.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
And I'll start, I don't know
And
where
we'll all
to
start poking, if you know
Yeah.
people who might be interested.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody in mind?
Other than Tom Crone, I don't know. I mean, the historical society, but they're all older, so unless we find something policy and indoor,
Yeah,
you know, if it's actually going out to the cemeteries and scouting things out and
You gotta be
checking
an
maps too.
able-bodied.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
So
I
I.
don't know why this made me think of that, but checking, going out, did, the trees at Abbey Fowler, Toby Hall was going to,
Pam asked me again last night if,
I just wanna be, cause he was gonna cut around them, let them sit for the summer,
And-
and then do it again in the fall.
I'll
So
call
there's,
Toby.
I bet he's done it,
I
I wanna make sure that he has, that's all.
don't know that he has, but
Yep,
Alright, and then he said he was gear out before he would do that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he's
the
gonna-
understanding is they will
follow
be
up.
gone in 2 years.
Yeah.
And he wanted to take that full 2 years to let the root ball develop,
Yeah.
as if I understood
you
the
you
process.
remember that, yeah,
I do.
yeah.
Yep, I'll get in touch with Toby and see where we're at. And-
Sorry to get off.
No,
No,
that
that
was-
was
that
one of the
was-
things we actually talked about yesterday at the meeting, but nobody could be here for this meeting, so I didn't put them on as a committee.
So maybe something on the website as far as trying to
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
get that
Cemetery.
up there.
Yep.
The other thing too is way up, but we still have a school board opening too.
Yeah, I noticed that, just one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There's another town that had an opening as well, I noticed that.
On a totally different note, but I did go to the district meeting and it was,
Did you have as much fun as usual?
no, it was kind of
No,
boring. It was
kind of
very
boring.
simple and I pushed it right through, if you want to know the truth. I sat right beside the gentleman from Cambridge and we made an agreement right at the beginning that it was a good deal and there wasn't any sense to
Get
sit
home.
here and
Motion second?
spend all evening, so you make the motion and I'm gonna second.
Oh, there you go.
And we was 18 minutes.
Where's
Wow.
Where was the cut, were the cuts? I noticed everybody's went down except Parkman's.
I don't have my list with me.
Yeah.
So, well, and that's actually what it was basically their evaluation due to the,
They needed TIF,
so.
those
that was the
transmission lines.
flex-
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
That
what
was
they
it.
said.
Okay.
So,
Ah,
Okay.
But anyway, on the positive note, that meeting starts, the way that works is it starts at 6. And that is educational, informative for the first hour, and then the actual starts at then. All of our members were there.
That's
We were
good.
the only town that every member was there from the very beginning through the entire meeting.
Is that right?
Yep.
Wow,
So I thought that was
good,
kinda good.
good
Oh,
for,
that's good.
So
that's good.
it was very not so good showing until the actual meeting started, but all of ours were there from the beginning.
Well, that's good, I like that.
Good.
Okay, are we moving on to item 8?
We are.
Landfill maintenance.
I've read lots of files. I still have not found a location for the pipes. So I will either go out there and
Prop them up.
look.
Yeah.
We'll get that squared away.
There should be a company that actually did that, or a design group that did it. Somewhere
There's the
should be a-
stamp.
Yep, there
So
should be somebody that's somewhere,
we'll see if we can find it.
yep. I wouldn't research
I'm
that.
gonna stop looking at our files and.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
go that
But if
route.
you could just get the,
Right.
look at
and
our
then-
files, see who actually did the work.
Yeah.
They should have had a plan or a development or a
And it
layout
should
of
be on
that,
there.
and it should be there, that's all.
Everything else is laid out.
I
I'm
know.
like, what the heck were they
Everything
thinking
I
leaving,
saw, I could see.
leaving the,
So,
okay, so that's all I wanted to tell you on that one, that I hadn't really
Okay.
made any progress.
Okay.
Now, we're on to tree removal quotes.
Yes. I, solicited 3 quotes, only got one.
Cheers.
I started with Angstrom's because that's who you've used before. Steve looked at it, said he'd give me a quote, asked me to contact, the power company and see what they would do. So I contacted and contacted and contacted and contacted, and he finally got back to me saying, oh, sorry, I've been on vacation. So I told him what I wanted, and he said he'd try to swing by and do that. A week later, I'm still calling Steve saying, where's my quote? He said, well, CMP ever get back to you? No.
Oh.
All right, I'll call CMP.
Okay.
CMP never got back to him. When I called him first of this week, he said, I'm too busy.
Oh,
I don't have enough employees. I've got a big project for another
yeah.
corporation. I can't do it for you.
Yeah.
I said, okay. You gave me, Tim, is it Guston or?
Guston.
Guston.
Mhm.
He never called me back.
Good. Well,
And then I called Tucker Tree Service, a resident had given me
mhm.
their name, and they came out. And so they did give me a quote. They quoted each side of the road separately. Your side would be 2,000, and that's for the cutting of the 6 poplar trees, chipping the brush, leaving the logs in log length, and chipping and removing the chips. So that's $2,000.
And removing the chips. Wow, okay, yep.
Chips gone.
that's good.
That's good.
That's very good.
That usually is not
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
the deal, that's why
Yeah.
I was,
Yep.
that's nice to see that.
And on the other side, it was 1,200. So Tucker uses a subcontractor called Central Maine Stump Grinding. He showed up and quoted for your side of the road a price of $875
To grind stumps,
to grind stumps.
but I think we need to remove the stumps to ditch.
That's what I'm wondering. I thought we were gonna pull them anyway.
Yeah, I don't think you need to grind, I think you're gonna remove.
And then Kelsey Simmons said the same thing, and his was 1,500, but he was counting the Cabot side and Martin's, not Kluge's. So they're
Not the same number.
not the
same.
not the
Not
same,
comparing the
not
same
the same.
things.
But he was between 15 and 2,000, and the other guy was between 875. He said just double it for the other side, so it would be 1,750.
How many poplar are on the other side?
2 of them are popple, and then there's a
Oh.
really depressed apple tree and a
Oh.
really depressed maple, and there might be something else
Okay.
small
I can't
there.
remember what that other one is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I
I'll
haven't,
look when I.
yeah, I haven't talked to, the only reason I know it's maple is because it now has leaves on it.
Okay.
When we were looking at it before, I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but, so,
So Tucker's
then-
the only one you really got to remove the trees themselves.
yep, Tucker's the only one for the trees, 2 for stumps. I talked to Thomas Logging and Forestry. to see if maybe they had the equipment to do it, maybe they could do it cheaper, and to see if the poplar trees were worth anything. He said he thought we could get, he doesn't really wanna take them down, he doesn't have the insurance, he doesn't, he doesn't really wanna mess with that, but he would gladly take a load of pulp for us, and he thought it would be close to a full load, and that we could get 600 back, maybe a little more, depending on how full a load it was for
Found money.
pulp.
As long as all landowners sign off, they're yours to take.
Yeah. So we'd have to get, and I think to get them removed, I don't know about Martins, I haven't talked to anybody
Sure.
there. Kevin and Julie are really happy to think that the trees might come down, and they'd like some fill if when we get started.
Maybe
start
some
digging.
chips.
Well, I don't, yeah, maybe, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to me, road project, anybody in the vicinity, the area, that's,
Yeah, that, we're lucky there.
Gotta be the first
The
come,
gentleman at
first
the
served.
end
Yeah.
wants
Right.
everything, so
Yeah.
I don't think,
Between the two of them, I mean,
that's up
Have
to
you
you
been
to.
up McFeeters right in the last 3-4 days?
No.
Well, the gentleman that I introduced you to, he is,
because he started.
yeah, big time. And I didn't tell him, but he needs to, if he's gonna be, he needs to make a driveway, make out a permit for a driveway over there.
he's putting a driveway in?
Well, he's clearing it, I mean,
Oh, so he's coming in and out, you mean?
yeah, he's clearing it, and he made a pond, he made a big, huge pond down where that was wet, and said we could dump everything, so I'll have to,
That has to go before
Revisit
the
him, yeah.
planning?
yeah,
Board?
that's what
For what?
I mean, well, he made a big pond in where that water was, right
I
there.
don't think you need a permit to build a pond.
I went to.
I think you do to put a driveway in.
Right, and he's clear.
You don't
'cause-
really need a driveway, I mean.
No, but he said he's gonna put a trailer over there.
Well, then.
Well, that
He
needs a
needs
driveway.
He would
Yeah,
definitely need a driveway.
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah,
all gonna
yeah.
fall on a culvert policy and everything.
Right, exactly, so that's a whole nother thing.
But this stump grinding, if we ditch, well, that expense is gonna be gone. It'll be
Yeah.
replaced with a different expense, but.
Pulling out those
Pulling up the
stumps.
Yeah.
stumps.
Yeah,
And then we just need somewhere to dump
stumps.
stumps.
Which we thought this gentleman.
Yeah, well, I'll recheck with him because now he's
He's,
Yeah, but
he's
even-
ahead of us now.
If you don't have it there, you've got it anyway, we've got the property up
Right,
on.
right. We
Yeah,
Just have to.
just a
follow
little
it.
further.
Right, right,
You you can
Right.
take whatever you want
Yeah.
up there.
yeah.
But there again, you're only gonna ditch one side of the road. So,
Most likely.
right,
Pretty
the other
much.
side of the road.
I was gonna
if you're not
tell,
But you're not necessarily gonna ditch, but you're gonna shape, so the road commission is really gonna decide, do both sides need to come out, or do we really only need to take out one side and?
And is it the lower side on Rick Pellerin's side that it's gonna be ditched? Is that what you're talking, or the upper
I
side?
thought it was the
Okay.
upper side.
Oh,
I
no,
think-
I don't
I
know, I
think
was
it's
just
the
asking you,
upper-
I
That's
didn't
what
know
I
what
thought
the
was-
final.
I thought that's what
Okay,
the
okay.
plan was.
I
Okay.
think, yeah.
But even on the other side, if he's gotta do something in there, they may have to come out. I mean, I'm not sure of the full,
Yeah.
what he's thinking, so. There may
Well,
be on that
that's why I
side, maybe
had
some grinding, it's gonna be more cosmetic, if you don't need to take them out, if you want a grinder, if you're gonna leave them.
Some of them are smaller too, so they would be,
From that, in terms of the project and cutting trees, not cutting trees, this price is actually, I don't know what I thought, but it's less than I thought it was gonna
Way
be
cheaper
more.
than what we thought.
Right, I thought, if you
Yeah,
had
yeah.
told me 20,000, I wouldn't have been shocked, I don't know why.
yeah.
And so my initial thought in terms of the project is, this is the time to get rid of the
Right,
trees.
yes.
Before I mean, that road is gonna suffer if we don't get rid of those trees, and we're doing it, let's do it right, that's kind of my gut reaction to the whole thing.
Both Angstroms and Tucker said, yeah, if you start digging along their route, you probably are going to kill the
So you're
trees.
gonna kill them.
And you're gonna have to,
And
Yeah,
then,
and
then
some
you've gotta
point,
have
You're gonna
them.
clean them up one way or another.
yeah.
You can either plan to do it, or.
It should be
they're gonna
addressed,
die.
otherwise, when they pave that road 15 years from now, they're gonna have to deal with it, so. I think this price is, it basically, in terms of whether we're gonna do it or not, I think we could say we're gonna do it.
Okay,
If we're gonna do the road, let's do the trees.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, I wouldn't see anything wrong with start the process of getting your landowners approved.
Yep.
They either want the trees or they don't,
Okay,
and once you know that, so you're all set, then you can, with busy season, I'd be getting people
I'd
lined
let
up
it,
for
yep,
that, to get that part going.
Okay.
yep, and I'd let Seth know that
Seth
that's.
said he could start most anytime on that part
Okay.
of the project. I guess probably what we should do is add something about paving and see if do you want to start,
We really need to work on Silver's Mills, and then we know how much money we got.
yeah, do you want to,
Yeah,
do you
let's
want to pick,
light that up.
okay.
We're ready
I
to
just
go.
would really like to know what Pike's gonna do about those cracks. I mean, I still got
He
a pretty.
said ceiling.
He said he
I don't
would
think that's
seal
really gonna
them,
work, but-
okay,
If he ought to go look at it now, because it's cracked more since he's looked at it earlier this year. So, that's my only,
okay.
But regardless, let's
So let's make a
assume.
motion on the tree,
don't need one,
Prod-
you can do that all day long.
Yep, yes,
That's
in other
you.
words, we've chosen a direction. It turns out the tree thing isn't as much of an obstacle as we feared.
Yep.
We're gonna do that road correctly.
okay.
That's
I'll
good
give-
news.
Yeah,
Yep.
you don't need a motion.
It was killing me to look at the way those roots were pushing that road up and we were just gonna pave over it. It's like, I don't wanna do that.
Yeah,
So we don't, I'm glad.
okay, all right. I can handle that.
You got that.
Yeah, those.
But back to Silver's Mills Road, the paving needs to be finished over there, whether he's gonna crack seal or not. Now, the question is, is there a response that is gonna cause us to say,
That's
whoa,
not acceptable.
we're not gonna even proceed unless something beyond crack sealing, is that what you're? Okay, so that's a whole
What
other
about-
discussion.
What about the roads guy? Sorry, I forgot his name.
Phil?
Yes.
Curtis?
Have Phil come look at that?
Yep, Phil explained
and
the
see.
process of what happened, how late it was, the temperatures, and have him go look at it.
And assess
I
It
it.
mean,
is
he
one
was
to do.
involved, he was here when we all decided that we weren't gonna, there was no way that, he was part of the, that we couldn't grind that.
Okay,
So he knows
Correct.
why
Yeah.
we didn't
Yep.
grind it, he
Yep.
was here.
Yep.
So he was in the whole process of.
I forgot about that element.
So, let's see what he says.
Because Pike
Yeah,
had
so-
forgotten that conversation. They thought
Yeah.
that we chose
Yeah,
not to
no,
grind
no,
it
no.
to
yeah, I
save
got,
money, and
I
that was
got
not
all
the case.
different, I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah,
I think that's all on audio,
yeah,
so.
It is, I went back and listened to it. It's all
oh, there
there.
you go.
there was a
Okay,
workshop, you
but we
guys.
do wanna get going on it,
Okay.
so.
So I will contact Phil tomorrow, hopefully he'll get back to me in the next couple of days, I will,
Yeah, you know,
if he says this, A, B, and C should be done, do you want me to call Pikes and say,
A, B, and C need
Yeah.
to
be
be done.
done?
yeah, I think so. I wouldn't mind, if it turns out that you have a few minutes and your guys are headed out there, I would
Yep.
love to meet you out there.
Sure.
I'd
Okay.
just be curious to see
Okay.
what he
That
says.
might be a good workshop event,
Yeah,
since all, we were all a part of that.
Sure.
Okay.
Not knowing where this is gonna end
Yeah, I
up.
mean,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah.
remember
Yeah.
when.
well, just,
Don't worry about it.
don't
Yeah.
hold
Don't
it
worry
up.
about
I
it.
mean, if
You
you
do
call
that.
me and I
Yeah,
say,
and-
"I'm sorry, I'm in Augusta," then you just go.
Yeah, yeah,
Same with me, I mean, if I
Yeah.
got meetings and I can't get out of them.
Right.
You're gonna do your thing.
But
Okay.
blast us so that we know when it is,
Right.
and then if
It's
we
just
can
close to
attend.
me, if I can shoot over, I would.
Okay,
Right.
okay,
And I would like to, just cause I'd like to hear what he has to say, so.
okay,
But if I can't,
Right.
don't
Same
change the
here.
schedule, so.
okay,
Yep,
Or don't change it for me.
right, me neither.
And maybe I'd just let Pike lie until you've had that meeting with
Right,
him.
right,
right,
right.
And
yes.
Then we'll have
Well,
a
yes,
better course.
I'd,
Yeah.
I'd like to have a, you know, we really need this, this, and this.
Right, a
Right. I
definitive.
mean, it's
To
easy
fix.
for
Yeah,
us to say, we have to do this, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
So,
well.
And I don't know either, I just see
Yeah.
the cracks and it seems to be getting worse, and
Well-
I'm thinking if we fill the crack and it's still getting worse,
Then you
It's
get,
just gonna, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, so it'll be,
but, and I really want that done because I wanna see that money out of the budget, so you know exactly what you have to go over here. Maybe we can't get that all done, but maybe we can, but we're not gonna know until we get over here,
but
that's
we're
all.
still going to start the ditching, remove the trees, we're gonna do all of
Sure.
that to get ready.
absolutely.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
And then we'll see what we have left for paving
Yep.
and,
yeah,
it's kinda where it's gotta go, I mean, once, do everything we gotta do and paving's last, and if we gotta ask for more money and do something different, then we gotta do something different. So,
okay. We can do that. So now all I got left is correspondence.
Okay.
And do I have a folder left? I don't have a folder left, that's not a good sign.
No, I don't have your folder.
I have lots of folders here, let's see if I get. There it is, right on top.
This was a nice letter.
So, West Road complaints, I've got numerous ones, I was going over that with Seth, he says he can he needs some gravel before he can grade, and gravel and grading is kind of what we're proposing to do
sure.
for them. Let's see, and then, Historical Society, unfortunately, they've sent me a letter letting me know that they don't feel they can take care of the planters any longer.
Oh,
They weed them, they put a few they have perennials in, they put a few annuals in. Lorna's gonna do this one for me. From the credit union. Rhonda's going to do the one up the little Silver Mills
Oh,
sign.
yeah.
She's taking care of that
Nice.
one. She's taking care of the one at the little one at the Memorial Field. So that really leaves the one over at Public Works. I don't know who I'm gonna get to do that one. It's in rough shape. Somebody backed into one end of it.
It's almost questionable.
I said, do we even wanna
Well,
perpetuate
I
it?
mean, you're really gonna spend some money to fix it up if you
Yeah.
wanna keep it going.
Yeah.
If you,
Maybe we just kill it off so it doesn't look like an eyesore and.
well, that whole area up there needs some.
Yeah, we
sprucing.
do need to address that whole area. in
Well, I
terms of
mean, there's just gravel, there's dirt, there's piles, there's holes.
Silt, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever happened out here was really nice, but that didn't happen up there.
Yeah.
So,
To clean up.
I mean, there's 3 inches of silt that could be graded right off the top and put out back and.
Yeah.
Just the whole area as a whole needs to be,
Cleaned it.
yeah.
Yeah, I would see if either Seth or other contract, I would talk to somebody about
Okay.
Doing something.
just cleaning it up. Yeah, and I don't think we wanna perpetuate the flower bed over there.
What is it, is it a sign for the town garage and then there's a flower bed? I can't even picture
It's
it.
it's the same
Is it?
size as this
It's
one
of
over
those
here.
rectangular,
Oh,
but,
is it
yeah,
movable?
No.
No,
No.
no, it's
We
those
can't get rid of it.
ready rock.
Oh.
Anything is movable,
Oh, yeah.
You can take it apart.
we
I
do have a
think.
loader.
Yeah.
Actually, that may be what ultimately, I don't know, is it kind of in the parking way, isn't it?
It's kind of, no, I think.
Yeah, we could clean
That's
it.
why somebody hit it, I'm sure.
As when we're all out, we'll just all look at it
Yeah,
and kinda get a feel for what it is.
I'll go take a look
We
at
can
it
clean
and
it
see
up.
what it looks like, yeah.
Okay, senior living help. This woman actually, she contacted Doreen, but it was for the town manager. She wants, this link to put on our website. I looked it up as far as, main corporate status, IRS, public charity status. I couldn't locate it.
Is it on anybody else's website?
They have their own website, you punch in your zip code and they'll tell you senior living nearby, but I don't think it's anything.
We don't have anybody else similar on our website,
We don't.
then I don't, just assume we don't start now.
Works for me.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Good. There you go.
Do you need a motion?
Nope.
No.
It was just correspondence.
No, that's the kind
Right, right.
It's
of,
just-
but
it's
you know
just-
what, personally, if you've changed your mind, I would say you go ahead and do whatever you want.
Right.
No, I just wanted more of a policy. Is this something we?
We don't like
Yeah, no.
policies.
I know you don't, cause I've
Right.
made you look at like 8 of them.
No, but this is
mean, in
an
general,
example,
yeah,
if somebody came in and wanted something posted on the website and you think that it makes
Yeah.
sense, you
Yep.
go right ahead and
Just
do
do
it.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
But if
And
it's something
likewise,
you
if you don't like it, don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could even Facebook it, but I'm not gonna do anything with this one. I
Yeah.
I
Well, you can
think,
bring it up in a meeting and I can just kinda tell it's a yes or a no and do it
then you'd
with
be
it.
like, okay, keep moving. All right, so the next one is Robert Young sent us a letter, thanking our fire department for its, extrication job.
Oh, boy.
But I thought it was nice to get a
Yeah, it's always
Yes.
nice to get a
Very
positive
nice.
letter.
positive
No.
letter, and so it
Taking
wasn't,
the time to acknowledge them, I think that was nice.
and it wasn't a complaint, so.
Yeah, there you go.
And then, I had somebody come in who lives across the road from John Rotano's, new project on the McPeters Road, where he's putting in the brewery.
Okay. Okay.
And he was quite upset because the construction always started really, really early. He wanted to know if we had any zoning because, you know, it was clearly not a commercial area.
Did you
Did we-
explain, there is none?
I explained all of this to him. I said I would ask you if you wanted to look at any of that stuff, since we were looking at policies and ordinances and, you know, I would bring it to your attention. But you know, basically, we have very few rules and regulations, and
Okay.
so go talk to him.
Right across
He's
the street.
concerned
Yeah.
that we don't have that.
He's concerned that we don't have that. He's moving, he's retired, I think he's moving from Massachusetts to here, and all of a sudden, you know, 6:30 in the morning was way too early for
Well,
construction
actually,
on-
I'm sure in almost any place in Massachusetts, there's all sorts of rules.
Yeah, there are,
I'm sure there are.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And we don't, but we
And
don't
But
have
it's
any.
not
It's one of the
exactly,
beautiful parts of living in Scottsbluff County, Maine.
Yep,
that's part of the reason people flock here.
Yeah.
yep, this was just an
Yeah,
FYI, not
and that, there's nothing that,
nothing
we have nothing
required,
to enforce.
just a correspondence.
Yeah.
I have to go
And,
and see where that driveway's gonna be.
It's hot,
It's almost.
except my cousin owns a home in Glendale, outside of Phoenix.
Oh,
And you're not allowed to own, well, you can own a pickup truck, but you can't park
park
it.
it
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
front yard.
yeah.
Now, it could be
Yeah.
a $60,000 pickup truck,
Oh, yeah.
but you
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
So there you go, I mean, some,
Greenwich, Connecticut too, same thing.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
but you
Yeah.
could have a Land Rover
Oh,
SUV.
yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, you could. Or probably a Hummer, maybe even, maybe. or that
Maybe,
type
as long as it didn't have an open body.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No,
But you can't
no
go out and
pickup.
buy a brand new fully loaded diesel pickup.
Nope.
97,000 now for a.
Nope,
That's.
nope.
So a Yukon would be okay,
Yeah.
or a Suburban.
Yep.
Or Yugo.
All right, I think, are we done?
Yes.
I have
Oh, we have
an
an
executive session,
executive session.
Whoops.
it
It's,
won't be long.
it's 7:20, and,
Do I have to make a motion?
yeah,
Please.
if you don't mind.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session on 1 MRSA 405-6 personnel.
And second, and we vote, and we're now in executive session at 7:20. It's now 7:25.
And I'll make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second, we vote, we're out. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
1 minute.
Oh.
No action was taken.
There was no action taken, thank you.
And now.
And now can I make a motion?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned.